Chapter 346. Gu Qing-shan put the vase away and looked back at the top of the mountain. There's not a single living person left there. Even their personal treasures will be taken away by the Tianma without leaving even a speck of dust. The only thing left now is to wait. Everything that can be done has been done, now it's up to the Tianma to decide. At this time, the night slowly faded away, revealing the dawn. A red light appeared in the faraway sky. It wasn't the sun, but a rain of fire that once again appeared in that area. Gu Qing-shan glanced at the rain of fire and scowled. A thought popped up in his mind. If the Zishan young master is facing his tribulation in another world, then who's controlling the fire gourd? Maids. Most likely his two maids. As a slave, other than being an accomplice, there's no other way for them to survive. Gu Qing-shan shook his head and stopped thinking about it. He tapped his inventory bag and released an airship. The airship quickly left. Gu Qing-shan sat on the airship, flying forward. On the other side of the sky, the rain of fire was still pouring down from the sky. This was a scene he'd never seen before. It meant that a world was being slowly refined by someone. As Gu Qing-shan stared at the rain of fire, he couldn't help but think about it again. Maids? He suddenly remembered the two other-world cultivators he killed. Before I killed them, they were talking to each other. When Gongzi captures her, I'm sure Gongzi won't want to kill her and will take her as his maid. Gongzi already has two beautiful maids. You think Gongzi will think there are too many? Not to mention, if we're talking about looks, this one isn't any worse than the other two. Gu Qing-shan couldn't help but clench his fist. Back in the ruins, the sword cultivator also had a flag. There was a line on the flag, saying that beautiful people can be maids, strong people can be miners. Could it be? Gu Qing-shan fell into thought for a bit more. Only when he reached the camp did he have a vague idea. Inside the camp, Gu Qing-shan took out the bowl. Since you aren't going into seclusion, why are you looking for me? The alms bowl's tone wasn't very good. Senior, can you let me see the recording again? Gu Qing-shan asked. Haven't you seen it before? I need to explore their weaknesses. I want to see them again. After a moment of silence, the alms bowl finally said, "Come in." A ray of light enveloped Gu Qing-shan and sucked him into the bowl. Which part do you want to see? The alms bowl asked. The moment the three of them appeared, Gu Qing-shan said. The image in the alms bowl reappeared. The two women were dressed in white, and they were both stunning beauties. They stood there with a dignified aura that made people shiver in awe, giving off an inviolable feeling. However, their hands and feet were wrapped in chains, and their enormous spiritual energy was suppressed by the chains, unable to disperse in the slightest. Such a restriction is truly peerless. Gu Qing-shan frowned and muttered. The image slowly changed. One of the beauties whispered, "Big sister, look, a world that no one can touch." That's right, a new world. How regretful that they're so weak. Seems like there's going to be another massacre. The other beauty sighed in a low voice. Gongzi is probably laughing to himself right now. The beauties looked at the Zishan young master. Seeing that, Gu Qing-shan couldn't help but nod. The Zishan young master spoke. Father once killed a person. Some of his belongings were suitable for me to use. Who would have thought that one of them would be able to open the barrier and help me find this place? What do you plan to do, Gongzi? Bring me the gourd. The two women froze, a bit dejected. Gu Qing-shan stared at the two girls' expressions and made a decision. He took out a communication talisman, carefully explained the situation, then put it into the universal talisman. Not too long later, the universal talisman lit up. 100 Flowers Fairy's communication talisman popped out and said, "I'll be right back." Gu Qing-shan put the universal talisman away and silently waited. It's already been half a day. The Zishan young master will arrive in another day and a half. When the Zishan young master was still a Tribulation Realm cultivator, he was already able to refine the entire Shenwu world. After a day and a half, he'll advance to Virtualized Realm and become even stronger. I really don't know if my preparations will work or not. For a split second, Gu Qingshan felt dejected, but quickly regained her determination. With Shifu's personality, if she loses to the other party, she'd rather die than become his maid. She'll definitely make sure that I die. I can't let that happen, I can't let Shifu die. While Gu Qingshan was thinking, the 100 Flowers Fairy arrived. She was still wearing a veil, only revealing a pair of limpid eyes. The fragrance of 100 flowers drifted from her body. How are the great monk of sorrow and Xianyuan Tianzuan? Gu Qingshan hurriedly asked. The 3 saints have fought together for many years, their teamwork was perfect. The survival of the great monk of sorrow and Xianyuan Tianzuan is directly related to the difference in strength in the final battle. Tianzuan is gone, sorrow has broken through, the 100 Flowers Fairy's tone carried an unprecedented sense of regret. Gu Qingshan was a bit shocked. He knows that the projection realm's tribulation is extremely difficult, and he also knows that the majority of cultivators won't be able to survive it. But a sainted realm cultivator that he's familiar with, silently dying in the midst of a tribulation like that, still feels a bit unreal. Cultivation is hard, but not cultivating is the same as being trampled on by others. Some people fight for their lives, gaining more chances to fight against fate. But others can only silently pass away. Gu Qingshan couldn't help but sigh. You called me here because you want to know about the situation in the sky? The 100 Flowers Fairy asked. That's right, who exactly is controlling the rain of fire? Gu Qingshan asked. The 100 Flowers Fairy answered. 2 women, but they don't seem to be able to use any spells, they can only control a gourd, she continued. The most powerful one is that gourd, the great monk of sorrow was injured by it at the time, the rain of fire in Shenwu world was also released by that gourd, Gu Qingshan said. I have a piece of information here, please take a look, Shifu. He then took out the bowl and put it on the table. This is my Shifu, please let her take a look at the situation at the time, he said to the bowl. The bowl let out a light that enveloped the 100 Flowers Fairy. The 100 Flowers Fairy glanced at Gu Qingshan but didn't resist. Very quickly, she was sucked into the bowl. A few moments later, the 100 Flowers Fairy reappeared in the tent. She spoke very seriously. So that's why, what are you thinking? I want to see those 2 women, see if I can convince them, Gu Qingshan said. It's useless to find them, why not? They can't do anything, and I've seen the chains on their bodies, they're seals that I've never seen before. I think even I wouldn't be able to go against them, the 100 Flowers Fairy said. As long as they know what they're doing, they might be able to provide us with some unexpected help, Gu Qingshan said. Why do you think that? From their expressions and words, I can see that they're still compassionate towards the world, so their minds haven't changed, and then? Perhaps they have their own thoughts, but we don't know about it. The battle to decide life and death is about to begin, Gu Qingshan continued. Virtualized realm cultivators are unimaginably powerful, as long as they can help us even a bit, it's worth fighting for, so I want to go find them. The 100 Flowers Fairy's attitude changed a bit and nodded. I'm relieved that you're able to think like that during a battle. She stood up and said, if they use the gourd, you won't be able to survive. I'll personally take you to them, Shifu, please wait a bit, I still have something else. Gu Qingshan raised the bowl and said, I'll help you restore the prestige of our sect, how about that? The bowl asked, do you have a Buddhist cultivator? We do, as Gu Qingshan answered. She looked up at the 100 Flowers Fairy. I'm afraid we'll have to ask the great monk of sorrow to come. The 100 Flowers Fairy glanced at the bowl and used a communication talisman. A few moments later, the great monk of sorrow entered the tent. As soon as he saw the bowl, he couldn't move his eyes away. Amitabha, this is our sect's greatest treasure. He clasped his hands together. The bowl sighed. Amitabha, it's a bit old, but it still flew up and slowly landed in front of the great monk of sorrow. The great monk of sorrow closed his eyes, clasped his hands together, and lightly chanted a scripture. Layers of golden light erupted from the bowl, manifesting countless golden arhats. You are a disciple of Buddhism, you should carry me as you travel the world. I ask you, are you willing? The bowl asked. I am willing, the great monk of sorrow answered. Living beings are in chaos, you should carry me to save them all. I ask you, are you willing? I am willing. The world is about to collapse, you should join me in slaying the demons. Are you willing? I am willing. Very well. Saying so, the bowl safely landed in the great monk of sorrow's hand. The great monk of sorrow stood up with the bowl, then bowed to the 100 Flowers Fairy. Thank you. This is your fate. If you want to thank someone, thank my disciple, the 100 Flowers Fairy said. There's no need. If the great monk can exert more power, you can also help my Shifu, Gu Qingshan replied. He stared straight at the great monk of sorrow and sincerely spoke. I only ask that the great monk protect my Shifu in battle. Amitabha, this old monk has such a fate, I will definitely repay it, the great monk of sorrow said. A few moments later, an airship flew out from the camp, straight to the sky. After flying for another 40,000 meters, the airship couldn't go any further. The 100 Flowers Fairy put the airship away, held Gu Qingshan's hand and continued to fly upwards. After another 30,000 meters, the 100 Flowers Fairy stopped. She circulated her spirit energy to carry Gu Qingshan next to her. Look, the 100 Flowers Fairy pointed at a faraway place. There was a faint glow of fire, constantly giving off heat that fell to the ground. A rain of fire. I see it, let's go see them now, Gu Qingshan said. Let's go. The 100 Flowers Fairy took his hand and flew forward. The two of them quickly got closer and could see the faint glow of fire clearly. The gourd was hanging upside down in the air. The mouth of the gourd was spitting out a rain of fire. Two beautiful women wearing white clothes, their hands and feet were wrapped in chains, silently standing in the middle of the wind. Noticing someone approaching, they both turned around. Ah, they were both surprised. That person really looks like Gongzi, one of them commented. No, at first glance they look alike, but their facial features are different, the other replied. Greetings, fellow Tao seekers. Gu Qingshan clasped her fist. The 100 Flowers Fairy silently stood on one side and didn't greet them. What do you want? Of the two women, the one with a gentle and quiet expression asked. May I ask if you two are that Zishan Gongzi's maids? Gu Qingshan asked. We are his maids. Are you looking for us because you want to betray your own world and surrender to him? The other woman with a gloomy expression asked. The gentlewoman replied. Gongzi usually doesn't kill those who voluntarily surrender, so you can at least live on as a servant from now on. That's right, congratulations, the gloomy woman replied. No, I'm not surrendering, Gu Qingshan replied. The two women looked at her doubtfully. I want to kill him, Gu Qingshan said. The two women froze. The gloomy woman laughed. That joke isn't funny at all. Chapter 347. A second ago, her face was full of worry, but a second later, she was laughing like a mad woman. This beauty's mood swings were quite shocking. But this kind of reaction gave Gu Qingshan a bit more hope. If a person has been suppressed for too long and suddenly heard what they wanted to hear, this should be their reaction. Wan Er, you shouldn't be like this, the gentle white-clothed woman softly said. She reached out and squeezed her hand, reminding her to be careful. Big sis Qingro, don't you think it's funny? He wants to kill Gongzi, a rejuvenation realm cultivator, saying he wants to kill Gongzi. Wan Er breathed heavily and giggled. Qingro sighed and stared at Gu Qingshan. You should leave quickly, Gongzi is about to return. With your current strength, you aren't a match for him. Seeing their reactions, Gu Qingshan felt a bit more hope. I'm serious, and I have quite a bit of power that I can use, Gu Qingshan said. What kind of power? Wan Er opened her eyes wide and asked curiously. Qingro pulled her behind her and spoke very seriously. Trust me, no matter what kind of power you have, you won't be able to win against him. Why do you think so? Gu Qingshan looked straight into her eyes and asked. Qingro didn't shy away and looked straight into her eyes. Guangyang Sek's great elder is a cryptic realm cultivator, and Gongzi's father is also trying to break through to this realm. Other than them, including Gongzi, there are 3 other virtualized realm cultivators. With such power, even my world was destroyed by them, let alone you alone? Gu Qingshan tried asking, even you can't fight against them? I'm only a tribulation realm peak, not even virtualized realm, so of course I became their captive and my cultivation was sealed. Saying so, she went silent and kept staring at Gu Qingshan. Gu Qingshan understood what she was trying to say. It's not that she doesn't want to fight back, it's just that the other party is too powerful for her to handle. Wan Er peeked her head out from behind Qing Ro and evaluated 100 Flowers Fairy. She suddenly said, "It's you again. TSK, what a beauty. I'm guessing that if the young master's father was here, he would definitely keep you instead of being casually sent to the young master like me." "What are you talking about?" Qing Ro scolded. However, after hearing these words, Gu Qingshan's mind became clearer. This was another reminder. Even if you have 1,000 tricks up your sleeves, so what if you manage to kill the Zishan young master? Don't forget that he still has a powerful father, the Grand Elder of Cryptic Realm, as well as the father of the Zishan young master who was about to break through to Cryptic Realm. Once he successfully breaks through, Guangyang sect will have 2 Cryptic Realm cultivators, becoming one of the top sects in the other world. Gu Qingshan knew about this important information, but the attitude of these 2 maids was the key to the problem. These 2 women, whose cultivation bases were sealed, were willing to divulge information to him. Sure enough, it was the right decision to come here. 100 Flowers Fairy also looked at the 2 girls in surprise. Gu Qingshan slightly clasped his fist and said, "I know that you 2 aren't normal cultivators." Qing Ro gave off a faint sense of tranquility, her eyes were slightly lowered, as if she wasn't moved. Wan Er was observing Gu Qingshan, seemingly interested in what he was about to say. Gu Qingshan continued, "I have a way to take his life, as well as cut off the connection between this world and his world, once everyone who knows about this dies. No matter how powerful Guangyang sect is, as long as they don't know where this world is, they won't be able to do anything." Hearing that, Qing Ro shook her head. Wan Er tilted her chin up, smiling at him. Gu Qingshan glanced at the chains on their bodies. The chains were giving off a faint light that enveloped them. Such a powerful sealing technique, capable of restraining even a tribulation realm cultivator. Can it be undone? But this is the first time I've met these 2 girls, and their cultivation bases are sealed. If I try to probe them, it might backfire. If a stranger approaches them, their attitude might change. After all, they can use the gourd. Gu Qingshan thought quickly and said, "If your hearts haven't died, I won't ask you to do anything, I only ask that you do nothing and leave the rest to me." The meaning behind those words was very deep. Hearing that, the 2 girls fell into thought. "Are you serious?" Wan Er opened her eyes wide, tilted her head and asked. "I don't joke around with my life," Gu Qingshan answered. Wan Er silently took Qing Ro's hand and lightly shook it. Just as she was about to say something, Qing Ro's expression changed. Not good, her face paled. Gongzi has passed the tribulation and entered this world. Below them, a layer of golden light suddenly appeared. Amit Ba. The vast chanting of Buddhist scriptures spread far and wide. Following that, a furious shout came. "You bunch of trash, you dare kill cultivators of my sect, I want you dead!" It's Gongzi's voice. The 2 girls shouted at once. Below them, the golden light was instantly engulfed by the intense heat. Powerful spirit energy waves clashed, creating a large amount of wind and dust on the ground. Streaks of light flew out from the ground and gathered around the golden light, coordinating with it to attack and defend. They were the weapon spirits of this world. Countless weapon spirit. They've all come out to help. Hurry and leave. Qing Ro lightly swung her hand, opening the void of space to reveal countless chaotic currents. Clang, clang, clang. As the chains around her body sensed her releasing her spirit energy, they clanked and tightened. The chains were getting tighter and tighter on her body, quickly drawing blood on her snow-white robe. What are you waiting for? These weapon spirits can't deal with Gongzi at all. Hurry and leave. Qing Ro scowled and urged Gu Qingshan. If you fall into Gongzi's hands, you'll definitely die, and this little sister will suffer a fate worse than death, Wan Er hurriedly said. Hurry and leave. Don't let Big Sis get found out. The last time Big Sis saved someone, Gongzi made her kneel in the poisonous flames for a year. Before Gu Qingshan and 100 Flowers Fairy could do anything, a cold scoff came from below. The Zishan young master's voice came from afar. Wait until I'm done with these trash, then I'll punish you, bitch. As soon as he said so, the chains around Qing Ro's body started to burn. Qing Ro screamed in pain, kneeled down and coughed up blood. The space vortex that was opened up closed again. Big Sis Ro. Wan Er sobbed and hurriedly helped Qing Ro up. As 100 Flowers Fairy looked at the two girls, her eyes slowly became warm. She lowered her guard slightly and sighed. They are all pitiful people. Bai Hua Fairy looked down at the sky again. Streaks of light were unleashing their full power to attack where the flames were. She suddenly muttered, That's right, it's now. Shifu, what's wrong? As soon as Gu Qingshan noticed something was wrong with her, she hurriedly asked. This scene is very familiar. Yes, I've seen this in the Omen before. 100 Flowers Fairy looked around, then at the battle below and said, Omen? What omen? Gu Qingshan suddenly regained her senses. The omen of death. 100 Flowers Fairy had a premonition that she's going to die. This was what she saw in the omen. When this happens, it means that she's about to die. Gu Qingshan's heart tightened and exclaimed, Shifu! 100 Flowers Fairy shook her head and smiled at him. For my entire life, I was an orphan just like you. I never knew what warmth was. After I entered the path of cultivation, Shifu was very strict with me. Before I could get close to her, the sect was already destroyed. After that, I was only focused on revenge. Even when I reached Sainted Realm, I was still alone. Fortunately, I have you, Xiao Lu, and Xiao Xiao with me now. I finally know what it feels like to have family by my side. You are my last loved ones. She reached out her hand and lightly touched Gu Qingshan's face, saying, No matter how hard it is, you have to take them and live on. Chapter 348. 100 Flowers Fairy's figure flashed and went far away in the blink of an eye. Gu Qingshan hurriedly chased after her, but couldn't catch up no matter how hard he tried. He could only stop in midair, watching as the emerald-green figure flew away. Boundless martial thaumaturgy power flowed from 100 Flowers Fairy's body, quickly manifesting into a human-faced snake figure. Martial divine skill, unbreakable mountain range. While flying, she suddenly disappeared. Boom! An earth-shattering sound came from heaven and earth. The golden light that was being suppressed by the flames also exploded. Amitabha, Benefactor Xie, you're finally here, the great monk of sorrow sighed in relief. Ahahaha, a projection realm early stage wants to hit me? The Zishan young master laughed in madness. Their conversation echoed all over the world. The sound of fighting could be heard from below again. Then the Zishan young master's tone changed, saying, Who would have thought a world like this would be able to give birth to a peerless beauty like yourself? There was a hint of lust in his voice now. How dare you? 100 Flowers Fairy angrily shouted. A second later, boundless light surged, fused with the golden light and shot towards the flames. Ahaha, come with me. The Zishan young master's voice came again. Gu Qingshan stood alone in midair, completely expressionless. Shifu definitely wouldn't be willing to be captured. As soon as something goes wrong, she'll definitely return to Huangquan. At this moment, he couldn't help but recall the 100,000 years old giant corpse's words. That eerie voice seemed to have broken through the limits of space and time, once again resounding in his ears. At the most crucial moment, the most crucial push, it might be able to change the omen of death, but you must remember, the one who pushed her will pay the price. I hope the one who pushed her isn't you, because you're still too weak. You can't handle anything too bizarre. Gu Qingshan's eyes moved a bit, observing the battle below. He suddenly turned his hand and took out a chain. There were 5 bells on the chain. Without hesitation, Gu Qingshan shook the bell in his hand. The sound of a female singing came from the void of space. The light of the sunset flashed and disappeared. The black-clothed girl appeared as light as a feather. "What's your master's decision?" Gu Qingshan asked calmly. "Master is still considering." As the black-robed girl spoke, she looked down at the situation below and her expression immediately changed. "Great virtual realm. He alone can kill all of you." She could see the current situation at a glance. This world was about to fall. Gu Qingshan said in a low voice, "Everything is about to go up in smoke, and your master is still considering? If this goes on, I'm afraid she won't be able to obtain anything." As the black-clothed girl listened, she straightened her body slightly, and the relaxed expression on her face disappeared. A solemn and dignified aura emanated from her body. "Seems like we don't have time to talk." The black-clothed girl's tone became slow and stern. "My condition for joining the battle is that the virtualized realm cultivator's soul belongs to me, that world belongs to me, and you must hand over the Tianma Pond of embodiment in your possession." Gu Qingshan wasn't surprised at all. "No problem, but I must give it to you after the battle, otherwise I won't be able to rest assured. These are my conditions. I can agree, but the Tianma Pond of embodiment can only be used by a Tianma. If you don't give it to me, how am I supposed to help you?" The black-clothed girl showed a mocking expression. "You can't fight without the Tianma Pond of embodiment? I don't believe that at all. My divinity is too strong. I can't descend into this world with my true body. Only the Tianma Pond of embodiment can help me outside of the Tianma realm. Is that so?" Gu Qingshan clasped her hands together and formed a strange hand seal. Learning how to travel through the demon world means that he's qualified to use the Tianma vase. This way, the vase won't be taken away by the Tianma first. I can at least use it, and with your strength, you should be able to use it from afar. Why are you so cautious of me? It's a necessary guarantee, otherwise, if you take it and run away, I won't even have a place to cry to, Gu Qingshan replied. The black-clothed girl glanced at the hand seal, then at Gu Qingshan. "This brat is quite the sly one, seems like I'll have to do as we agreed. If that wasn't the case, I really would have wanted to take the Tianma vase and run away. This would be a huge harvest, and I wouldn't have to pay anything." Thinking that, the black-clothed girl smiled. Seeing how cautious Gu Qingshan was, she was actually a bit happy. If a gullible guy wanted to cooperate with a Tianma so easily, that would be nothing but contempt for her. Such a person doesn't deserve to fight alongside me. After that, I'll just eat such a fool alive. She replied. "That's fine, but you have to keep your promise and give me both the formation plate and the Tianma Pond of embodiment after the battle," Gu Qingshan replied. "That's what we agreed on," the black-clothed girl replied. "You're a human cultivator after all. I'm worried that you'll destroy the formation plate in consideration of the greater good of humanity." "What is the greater good?" "Don't worry, I won't offend you or the entire Tianma world because of this," Gu Qingshan replied. The black-clothed girl nodded. "That's good. I'm not afraid of smart people, I'm only afraid of arrogant idiots. After all, it's a simple matter for me to find you," she spoke with a threatening tone. The sound of battle below was getting louder and louder. Gu Qingshan quickly glanced at the situation. The situation was extremely dangerous. Gu Qingshan quickly said, "Let's go!" "What do you intend to do?" the black-clothed girl asked. "I'll prepare, you do it," Gu Qingshan replied. His hands turned into blurred images as he formed hand seals to activate the Tianma Pond of embodiment. The black-clothed girl shook her head, saying, "I didn't think there would be a day where I would cooperate with a human." Saying so, she also formed a hand seal and chanted. Her intonation was strange and rhythmic, as if she was calling out to something with every word she said. "Luo Jaja Luo Luo Shi, Lu Hali, Maha Luo Hali, aluo, jaluo, duoluo, so a rays of light came from her body and shone on the Tianma vase. As the Tianma vase was activated by Gu Qing Shan, as it sensed the rays of light, it began to vibrate. Following that, as the black-clothed girl chanted, voices began to echo from the void of space. When she finished chanting, billions of voices appeared from the void of space, chanting along with her. Gu Qing Shan formed 37 hand seals in succession to activate the vase. The vase gave off invisible waves that caused the void of space to tremble. Summon of demons. Activate. Seeing that, the black-clothed girl changed her hand seal and chanted again. Baluawe mo pashi body, bo bai bo bai sun bo bai mo bo sun. Following her chant, a flower from the void of space appeared next to the black-clothed girl. The flower was almost transparent, but also had a faint pink tint to it, standing straight in the wind. The flower quickly bloomed, revealing a small and beautiful Yao Ji's alluring figure. The beautiful Yao Ji stood up and quickly turned back into a normal person. She lightly leapt from the flower to the sky, dancing in the air. Whenever the black-clothed girl chanted an incantation, she would also chant one. The two Tianma both released rays of light that shone on the vase. Very quickly, countless similar flowers appeared from the void of space. From the sea of flowers, hundreds of thousands of Tianma Yao Ji appeared. They flew in the air, chanting the same incantation as they danced gracefully. More and more Tianma appeared, slowly filling the sky. In the sky. Big Sis Qingro, what do we do now? Wanaer looked down and asked. Every world we go to, there are always people asking for help, but when have we ever saved anyone? Qingro wiped the blood from her mouth and sighed. That's true, we definitely can't go down and help, otherwise, if Gongzi finds out about our preparations, our last hope will be gone, Wanaer said. If that's the case, I'll have no choice but to end my own life, Qingro said. Me too, Wanaer lowered her head and said dejectedly. Let's just wait and see after all, he only asked us to act according to the situation, HM? Wanaer's tone suddenly became a bit higher, a bit surprised. Big Sis, what's that? She asked. Wanaer looked down at the sky and spoke in disbelief. So beautiful, where did these female cultivators come from? Could it be the world of these cultivators? Qingro squinted her eyes to look at the direction she was pointing and froze. Immediately after, her expression changed, revealing a deep and solemn expression. Even when the Zishan young master suddenly came to this world, she didn't react like this. She silently looked down and muttered, Tianma. I've only seen such a dignified Tianma in the age of old before. After our world left our original location, no Tianma could find us anymore. This one is a Tianma Empress. So that's how it is. As if realizing something, Qingro couldn't help but clench her fist and put it in front of her chest. She looked at Gu Qing Shan, showing a surprised expression for the first time, and muttered, How daring, I've never heard of such a thing before. Big Sis, what's wrong? Wanaer asked worriedly. Qingro suddenly grabbed Wanaer's hand and spoke with a serious expression. Wanaer, this might be our only chance for revenge. A chance? Wanaer froze. Boom. A streak of golden light was sent flying, smashed into the ground. The entire ground caved in. The streak of light chased after it, about to kill it in one strike, but countless streaks of light flew up. With just you? The streak of light trembled, the streaks of light fell down. Countless spirits were killed. A bright green figure went up to stop him. After a short exchange of blows, the bright green figure punched forward and sent the streak of light flying. The streak of light flew back a few dozen feet before stopping, revealing the Zishan young master's figure. The Zishan young master crossed his arms and smiled. Not a bad technique, but it's too weak. Seems like you really can't bear to go all out against me. Looking at the bright green figure, he felt a bit excited. Such a beauty is truly rare in this world. If I can have her as my own, that would be the best. Behind the bright green figure, a golden light appeared, revealing the great monk of sorrow. So this is virtualized realm? The great monk of sorrow sighed. That's right, not easy to deal with. 100 Flowers Fairy rubbed her numb hand. Chapter 349. The great monk of sorrow flipped his hand and the floating bowl landed in his hand. It's going to be a tough battle. This monk has already prepared to die, the great monk of sorrow said. 100 Flowers Fairy didn't say anything, but her spirit energy continued to rise. Seeing that, the Zishan young master smirked and said, "Still not giving up? Very well, I'll let you experience the true feeling of death today, that way you'll get to know me again." Intense crimson flames rose from his body, manifesting as a flame kirin. "Next, if you don't surrender, you'll die," the Zishan young master said. He flew towards the two saints. On the other side, Gu Qingshan's hands were forming hand seals, activating the vase again and again. Looking down, she saw 100 Flowers Fairy being sent flying, while the great monk of sorrow took her place. Damn it! Gu Qingshan was panicking. "How much longer do you need?" he loudly asked. "I'm doing my best," the black-clothed girl answered. "Can't you hurry?" "Don't rush me, without enough tianma, it's useless," the black-clothed girl replied. Her hands formed hand seals one after another as demonic flames began to spread. In the void of space, more and more flowers appeared. Beautiful tianma appeared one by one. "Not enough, not enough," the black-clothed girl muttered, her hands moving faster and faster. She suddenly changed her hand seal and formed another one. Demon realm chilling aqua datura. An invisible water engulfed the sky. The black-clothed girl and all the tianma behind her disappeared into it. "You come as well," the black-clothed girl said. Gu Qingshan also disappeared without a trace. The tianma in the sky were no longer visible. The black-clothed girl looked behind her. "Go and test that virtualized realm cultivator's strength." "Yes," a beautiful tianma enchantress replied. She giggled and descended from the sky. Below, the bowl let out a golden glow and caught the flame kirin inside. But before the great monk of sorrow could put the bowl away, he was enveloped by another flame. The golden glow around him began to melt. 100 Flowers Fairy's expression became serious as she quickly formed a hand seal. Elemental metal, dragon takes pearl. 9 giant golden dragons suddenly appeared, circling around the great monk of sorrow. The golden dragons opened their mouths and sucked with all their might, sucking away the flames on his body. The 9 coiling dragons spiraled out, but along the way, they were quickly burned into nothingness by the flames. 100 Flowers Fairy released her hand seal and panted lightly. "That was really dangerous. Just a bit more and sorrow would have died. Beauty, why did you save this monk? He will definitely die today, you don't need to worry about him." The Zishan young master smiled. Dozens of meters above his head, the sky devil enchantress revealed its translucent body and was about to pounce. The Zishan young master's body suddenly let out a 7-colored light. When the heavenly fiend enchantress came into contact with the rainbow light, she didn't even have the chance to scream before disappearing into nothingness. A longevity lock floated up from the Zishan young master's body, letting out a 7-colored light that illuminated the surroundings. Within the 7-colored light, a vast power blasted through the sky and the earth. The Zishan young master's expression changed, cautiously looking around. "What happened? It seems like something was here just now." He pressed his hand on the jade pendant and took out a suit of armor to wear. Something wasn't right, so he became cautious. "Big sis!" Juan Er exclaimed in shock. "That's right, that was my longevity lock. He refined it for his own use," Qing Ro answered. She gritted her teeth, feeling extremely unwilling. Who would have thought her own item actually helped him block the most dangerous attack? It was the most precious treasure in the world she came from, specifically used to counter all evil. In her world, she once used this treasure to fight against the Tianma. Although the Zishan young master didn't know what this item was used for, he instinctively knew it was a good item and took it away. How regretful! How regretful! If it weren't for my longevity lock, he wouldn't know how to deal with the Tianma. At the time of the war between the two worlds, her parents were killed, her world was taken away, and she herself became a prisoner. This treasure that carried so many precious memories with it, has now become someone else's. Qingro closed her eyes, 2 streams of tears flowed down. On the other side of the sky. That longevity lock is specifically used to counter the Tianma. It carries the power of an entire world. Unfortunately, my real body can't descend here to deal with it, the black-clothed girl said. How troublesome. I might as well find a chance to kill the young man in front of me and try to steal the vase. While she was thinking, Gu Qingshan asked, with my current power, how long will it take for me to be able to perform demon world travel? When he tested it just now, he found that even though he's learned a demon world travel, he can't easily use it. He doesn't have enough spirit energy. With his current cultivation, it's impossible for him to use this treasure by himself. Gu Qingshan suddenly realized that she was wrong. Back then, Venerable Xian, as a beast saint, needed to borrow the power of 6 beast saints in order to use the vase. And that was only by using the vase. Other than that, he had to rely on the power of the countless Tianma enchantresses at the bottom of Demon Cloud's river to open the path to the Wraith realm. At the time, it was 2 Tianma that broke through the light and brought 100 Flowers Fairy's clone into the Wraith realm. Venerable Xian himself couldn't do that. He was still a beast saint. And Gu Qingshan was only a rejuvenation realm cultivator. The black-clothed girl smirked. With your power alone, if you keep using the Tianma Pond of Vitality day and night, you should be able to open the path between the two worlds in about a year, so the truth is this hopeless. Gu Qingshan only stopped for a split second before shouting again, help me open the Wraith realm. HM? What, you haven't given up yet? The black-clothed girl tilted her head to look at him. A virtualized realm cultivator's soul is right in front of your eyes. Do you want it or not? Gu Qingshan also looked at her. The black-clothed girl looked down. The purple-clothed cultivator had only just reached virtualized realm. His realm isn't stable yet. The purple-clothed cultivator kept staring at the sainted realm girl, exuding an intense desire. This kind of person is at his most delicious moment. If I can eat him, I'll definitely be able to take another step forward. Her gaze gradually became fiery. Yes, of course I want it, but he's a virtualized realm cultivator, even demon world travel might not be able to catch him, the black-clothed girl replied. That's why I need to open the path to the Tianma realm as soon as possible. I can't be slow. Otherwise, he'll run away, Gu Qingshan said. The black-clothed girl thought for a bit. If that's the case, there's only one chance. We need more Tianma to perform this technique at the same time to achieve the effect you mentioned. The black-clothed girl then formed another hand seal, borrowing the power of the Tianma pool of incarnation to summon a large number of Tianma. Very well, I'll try again. After all, this is a very rare soul. A chance like this only comes once in a blue moon. A transparent flame struck the great monk of sorrow's chest, sending him crashing into the ground again. The bowl let out a sorrowful cry and chased after him. The transparent flame flew back into the Zishan young master's hand. I'll give you one last chance, become my maid. If you refuse, your fate will be 10,000 times worse. He stared at the 100 Flowers Fairy and said. His expression suddenly changed, saying, Wait, this isn't your real body. Sensing it, he threw a cluster of flames towards a certain direction. A bright green figure appeared from the void of space, dodging the cluster of flames. It was the 100 Flowers Fairy. She clasped her hands together, quickly forming a hand seal. Streaks of astonishing spiritual energy converged at the tips of her slender fingers. The light was like a blazing sun, illuminating everything. Chapter 350. Qi of Huangquan. This is a samsara divine skill. No. Don't even think about it. The Zishan young master's expression changed, then formed a hand seal. Hundreds of thousands of fireballs suddenly appeared behind him, emitting a terrifying heat. Go! With a shout, thousands of fireballs flew towards Hundred Flowers Fairy. With such a rapid and intense barrage, Hundred Flowers Fairy used ground shrink twice in a row, but still couldn't completely escape. Hundred Flowers Fairy had no choice but to stop her technique and quickly retreat. Got you! The Zishan young master released a flaming serpent that charged towards Hundred Flowers Fairy. The flaming serpent opened its mouth to bite Hundred Flowers Fairy. Hundred Flowers Fairy suddenly disappeared. Divine skill? I also have one. The Zishan young master smirked. His hands quickly formed a hand seal. 5 elemental divine skill. Flame Dragon Devour. A flaming magma dragon descended from the sky, heading straight for Hundred Flowers Fairy. When the magma dragon came down, Hundred Flowers Fairy had only just reappeared from the void of space, unable to use ground shrink again. A series of fierce attacks, and a perfect timing. This was a virtualized realm cultivator's full power attack, as well as the strongest attack the Zishan young master has ever unleashed. In the sky, Gu Qingshan's blood froze as he watched. No! He muttered. Hundred Flowers Fairy only had time to look up at the flaming magma dragon. As the Zishan young master formed the hand seal, the ground suddenly shook. A blinding light suddenly appeared, scattered into over a dozen sprites of light that flew to the sky. As soon as the flaming magma dragon appeared, the sprites of light circled around Hundred Flowers Fairy. Giving off a blinding red glow, the exquisite black and red armor was worn by Hundred Flowers Fairy. As the flaming magma dragon crashed into the armor, it scattered and turned into a rain of fire. A layer of light enveloped Hundred Flowers Fairy, making her completely unharmed. Thank you. Why are you here? Hundred Flowers Fairy panted slightly. Defense is my forte. I've decided to fight alongside you. A female voice came from the primordial raging flame battle armor. Can you block it for me for 10 seconds? Hundred Flowers Fairy asked. What do you want to do? The wild raging flame battle armor asked. No matter how I think about it, this is the only spell that might be able to kill him. High in the sky. This girl has such a divine skill. Qing Ro exclaimed in shock. So what if it's a godly skill? We also have divine skills, but aren't we? Wan stared at the ground and said. It's different. You don't understand, this is a samsara divine skill, a fundamental law. As long as it's used successfully, karma will follow. Qi Yan will have to be careful no matter how strong he is. Qing Ro's eyes showed signs of struggle. Qi Yan is the Zishan young master's name. A second later, sure enough, the Zishan young master formed a hand seal and once again shot out thousands of fireballs, interrupting Hundred Flowers Fairy. With such low cultivation, how could she know such a spell? He doubtfully asked. Apparently, one of the two worlds is a bit unique, otherwise it wouldn't have been able to produce such a divine skill. As the fireballs flew towards her, Hundred Flowers Fairy had no choice but to let go of her hand seal and dodge. Qi Yan is afraid of this. Qing Ro's eyes lit up. She twisted her fingers tightly together as she thought quickly in her mind. With a Tianma Empress, a divine armor spirit, and a samsara divine skill, this is the most hopeful chance. This might be the only chance for revenge. Qing Ro put her hands on Wan Er's shoulder and spoke seriously. I'll go down to help, you stay here, big sis. If you fail, you'll be beyond redemption, Wan Er hurriedly said. If I fail, I'll kill myself on the spot, even my soul will self-destruct. I won't give them another chance to torture me, Qing Ro said. Just stay here, if I don't succeed, at least you'll be able to live. She hugged Wan Er and flew down without looking back. Her speed was getting faster and faster, getting closer and closer to the battlefield. Wan Er looked at the chains on her body, and then at the battle below. She was so anxious that she didn't know what to do. At least I'll be able to live, at least I'll be able to live. She kept muttering that over and over again, then suddenly stopped. Live? Am I going to be treated like a slave, living a life worse than eating? Big sis, I'd rather have my soul vessel destroyed than live such a painful life, she muttered, clasped her hands together and formed a hand seal, exuding spirit energy. Ha! Warner's face turned red as she cried out in a tender voice. Prison suppression lock technique, released. Aya. Let me go, I need. The wind around her body was so intense that the chains around her were actually shaken off a bit. Freedom. Warner circulated the spirit energy she had been saving for several years and shouted, even if it's only for a little while, I need freedom. Clang, clang, clang. She finally broke free from the chains. Powerful spirit energy waves appeared around Warner's body. She turned into a streak of light and chased after Ching Ro. Behind her, the chains slowly followed her, descending from the sky. On the other side, Gu Qingshan was soaked in cold sweat, finally regaining her breath. It was fortunate that the wild raging flame armor appeared in time, otherwise, if that 5 elemental divine skill struck 100 Flowers Fairy, she would have been heavily wounded even if she didn't die. The two sides were still in a stalemate. This was because 100 Flowers Fairy's fighting skills were too powerful, the Zishan young master hadn't used his full strength yet. But even so, there was still a large realm between projection realm and virtualized realm, the difference in strength was too great. How can I win? There's no hope. 100 Flowers Fairy was slipping closer and closer to her death. Time was slowly moving towards that moment. Gu Qingshan had never felt so anxious before, so she couldn't help but shout, How much longer until you're ready? The black-clothed girl circulated her demonic flames and answered in a low voice, This isn't the Tianma world, so it won't be that fast. I need a bit more time to prepare. Gu Qingshan held back her impatience and looked around. The void flowers were manifesting one after another, but the speed at which they appeared was extremely slow. He asked in a low voice, I know you're the Tianma Lord, don't you have a way to speed up this spell? There is a way, but there aren't any other living beings around, we can't extract divine power, and my own divine power is too strong, I can't use it in this world, otherwise I'll be ejected from this world, the black-clothed girl quickly answered. Divine power again. What exactly is divine power? Gu Qingshan finally couldn't help but ask. During the Sea of Swords, the wild raging flame armor used divine power to empower the entire Sea of Swords, which used up all of her own divine power. And now the Tianma Empress is also talking about divine power, so what exactly is this? The black-clothed girl answered. It's useless even if you know, divine power is the most fundamental power of all living beings, it comes from the origin of the soul. Gu Qingshan's mind went blank. I feel like I've heard this explanation somewhere before. What exactly is soul points? The most fundamental power of all living beings comes from the origin of the soul, when he had to choose between using soul points or EXP to level up. The system had given him an explanation for soul points. Divine power? Soul points? Tianma needs soul points? You mean soul points? He couldn't help but ask. Soul points was what the old divinities called power, now we call it divine power, the black-clothed girl continued. That's right, soul points is the most fundamental power of all living beings, it comes from the origin of the soul, it has endless uses. I have soul points, Gu Qingshan said. Of course you have divine power, the black-clothed girl quickly glanced at him. All living beings have divine power, but a single person's divine power is limited. It's not enough. How much soul points do you need? Gu Qingshan asked. At least 500 divine power to speed it up. The black-clothed girl replied, You're a rejuvenation realm cultivator, you'll only have 200 divine power at most, you'll die if I take them all out, and it still won't be enough. Gu Qingshan glanced at his soul points. The current soul points limit is indeed 200. He couldn't help but ask, I can't have more than 200. Of course not, only when you advance to Ascended Realm will your divine power increase accordingly, other than that. There's no other way. Unless you're an extremely unique existence, every living being's soul points limit is fixed, there won't be any more than that. This is the origin law of the infinite worlds, it can't be wrong, the black-clothed girl replied. Gu Qingshan silently nodded and said, Use my soul points, you don't want to live anymore? Use it. You'll die, I'll only use it. Very well, put your hand on mine. Their hands were touching each other. A line of text appeared on the war god UI. The Tianma Empress requests to absorb your soul points. How much soul points are you willing to pay for her use? After breaking through Rejuvenation Realm twice, Gu Qingshan still had quite a bit of soul points left. He glanced at his soul points again to make sure his eyes weren't deceiving him. She said she needs at least 500 soul points right now, then. I'll give you 600? Pay 600 soul points. Gu Qingshan said. 600 soul points paid, remaining soul points, split second. An immense amount of soul points flowed into the black-clothed girl's hand. Their hands created an irresistible repulsive force. The shockwave sent the black-clothed girl flying a few feet away, blowing her hair and clothes into a mess. Her expression was full of disbelief. You have so much divine power, this is Sainted Realm's soul points. Who exactly are you? Although she was talking to Gu Qingshan, her hands didn't stop moving at all. As she formed a hand seal, the void of space itself collapsed. Hundreds of thousands of void flowers appeared in front of them at the same time. The Tianma vase let out a resounding boom. In the blink of an eye, the spell was completed. This is the wondrous effect of soul points, able to change the laws, able to ignore causality. This is what we Tianma have always been chasing after. The black-clothed girl had an indescribable glow on her face. Very well, Gu Qingshan formed a hand seal and said, Now it's our turn. Below the sky. Rumble, rumble. The ground was blown apart by the flames. 100 flowers fairy once again hid in the sky. The primordial raging flame battle armor emitted waves of blazing light, which completely protected her. Thanks to the wild raging flame armor, 100 flowers fairy hasn't been wounded since just now. But the exhaustion of spirit energy and stamina is intense, and there's no time to replenish it. The situation has changed. Not only do I want you, I want your divine skill as well. The Zishan young master looked at 100 flowers fairy like he was looking at a rare treasure. 100 flowers fairy said, Leave this world, as long as you swear a heavenly oath to never tell anyone about this world and never come here again. I can consider using my spell to exchange for the peace of this world. The Zishan young master refused. No, this world is mine, and your world is also mine, he then asked. You really don't want to consider becoming my maid? I'll treat you well, and you'll be the only one who can survive in your world. 100 flowers fairy scowled. It's not because of anything else, but because your expression is so perverted that it makes me feel disgusted. The Zishan young master was stunned for a while before reacting. Perverted, ever since he was born, no one has ever dared to use such a word on him. He opened his hand. A ball of gray fire was quietly burning in his hand. From now on, you will no longer enjoy any preferential treatment, the Zishan young master coldly said. He finally got serious and decided to use his full strength. I'll kill you first, then capture your soul and place 32 restrictions on it. Then, I'll put it back into your body and let you live in endless pain. Saying so, he was about to jump forward. A beautiful woman in white slowly flew down from the sky, landing next to the Zishan young master. The Zishan young master was surprised. HM? Qingro? Why are you here? Young master, I'm here to help you, Qingro said. She gave the gourd to the Zishan young master and landed next to him. The Zishan young master's expression softened a bit, speaking with a gentle voice. That's more like it. His words were stuck in his mouth. Qingro put one hand on his shoulder, the other hand formed a hand seal, channeling all of her power. Intense spirit energy waves began to spread from her body. The chains scattered with a loud rumble. In that short amount of time, her aura was only a bit weaker than the Zishan young master's. From the looks of it, she really is a Tribulation Realm cultivator. A second later, 4 ghosts appeared from the void of space, opening their jaws and biting the Zishan young master's arms and legs. Shadow divine skill, hungry ghosts forbidden. Qing Ro shouted to 100 Flowers Fairy, "Hurry, I can't hold on much longer." While she was talking, 100 Flowers Fairy's hands were already clasped together. 100 Flowers Fairy was fully focused on forming the hand seal. A bright green light once again appeared on her hand. The Zishan young master struggled a bit, only to find that he was being bitten by 4 ghosts, unable to move at all. He suddenly laughed out loud. "I was wondering why you were so obedient to me. Turns out you've been secretly accumulating spirit energy all these years, waiting to use it on me. Very well, today I'll make sure you accept your fate." He stood in place without moving. However, a protective talisman flew up and emitted a vast spiritual light, enveloping him within. Guangyang Sek's only spirit-banishing talisman, capable of escaping all spells below virtualized realm, the Zishan young master pridefully said. As soon as the talisman shone on the 4 ghosts, they all howled in pain and disappeared without a trace. But before the Zishan young master could move, another soft hand pressed on his shoulder. Wanner landed on the ground and shouted, "Soul Lock!" In a split second, 5 chains covered in green flames flew out from the ground, circled around the Zishan young master's body a few times, restraining his head, hands and feet. Hell-suppressing divine skill, 100 Ghosts Soul Lock. As soon as the spell was cast, the Zishan young master roared in anger. Boiling spirit energy erupted from his body, causing the talisman to shine brightly. Chapter 351. Wan Er's face paled, desperately channeling her spirit energy. "Big Sis Qingro, I don't have enough spirit energy to fight him. I'll help you." Qingro flew forward, infusing her spirit energy without holding anything back. At this moment, Qingro put her hand on Wan Er's back, while Wan Er put her hand on the Zishan young master's shoulder. Working together, the two of them finally managed to stabilize the green flame chain, tightly coiling around the Zishan young master. The 3 of them worked together, finally stabilizing the green flame chain and tightly coiled around the Zishan young master. The talisman that was floating in the air started to crack. No. The Zishan young master's expression changed. Against 2 divine skills in a row, and the second divine skill had quite a bit of history, the talisman couldn't stop it no matter how strong it was. With a crack, the talisman broke apart. "Bitch. No wonder you could hide spirit energy. So you're an expert in the prison sealing technique." The Zishan young master gloomily spoke. Wan Er loudly spoke. "I originally didn't know it, but Big Sis Zu was tortured to death by you, so before she died, she imparted this technique to me. This is what they mean by karma." Qingro muttered in a low voice. "Ahahaha, what a good karma, but I'll have to disappoint you," the Zishan young master spoke. A small formation plate appeared from his body, letting out a blinding light. "This is a 2-world warp formation plate that my father gave me. I only need a single thought to activate it. After 15 breaths worth of time, I'll be able to return. I'll immediately bring more people to take your lives one by one. I'll capture your souls, make you forever suffer, break, grind." He begrudgingly shouted, almost spitting out each word through gritted teeth. The small formation plate was blinking, moving back and forth, as if trying to find a way to break through the world. Qingro gritted her teeth, took out a snow-white dagger and stabbed it towards the Zishan young master. Another talisman flew out by itself, turning into a heavy shield to stop her. Ba! Suddenly, a golden light appeared from afar, appearing in front of the Zishan young master. The great monk of sorrow appeared, striking the Zishan young master with his palm. Several dozen talismans appeared from the Zishan young master's body, glowing as they flew towards the great monk of sorrow. Bam! The golden light was sent flying, disappearing in front of them at an even faster speed. It's useless, you can't hurt me. I have thousands of protective talismans. The Zishan young master laughed out loud. Suddenly, the world darkened. The surging river swept across the sky. The small boat came from the sky, and the graceful woman stood at the stern of the boat. As she rowed the boat, she turned her head to look at them. The surging waters of the river of forgetfulness, the Yellow Springs ferryman. The Zishan young master's expression changed. An attack-type divine skill of the 6 paths, oh no! He hurriedly looked at the small formation plate, only to see that the formation plate was still accumulating power. He then tried to break free from the chains, but under the full power of 2 Tribulation Realm cultivators, the hell-suppressing divine skill couldn't be shaken. Wanner looked at the river and felt a little nervous. She quietly asked, "Sister, what is this?" "Just watch, don't say anything." Qingro was also a bit worried. He couldn't kill Qi Yen no matter what, and Qi Yen was obviously afraid of this samsara divine skill. Now, he could only rely on this move. The faint green flames in the skeleton girl's eye sockets scanned through everyone and asked from afar, "How many people do you want to ferry this time?" "Time is of the essence. Please help me ferry this person to Huangquan," 100 Flowers Fairy said. The skeleton girl looked at the Zishan young master and said, "A virtualized realm cultivator is expensive to ferry. I'll pay any price," 100 Flowers Fairy said. "Pay all of your life force, then suffer in hell for 1,000 years. Only then will I be able to invite him on the boat," the skeleton girl said. 100 Flowers Fairy went silent. Qingro and Wan Er looked at her nervously. "So that's what it is, so that's what it is," 100 Flowers Fairy muttered. "Qing Shan, Xiao, Xiao Lu," she sighed. "If I don't enter hell, who will?" As she spoke, all of her fine black hair turned snow-white. All of the Sainted Realm's life force was gathered by 100 Flowers Fairy into a cluster of emerald light and held it in her hands. She muttered, "Then let's do it this way, The skeleton girl's eyes burned even brighter, waiting for what she was going to say next. At this crucial moment, a thunderous roar resounded across heaven and earth. "Shut up!" Everyone looked up. Gu Qingshan flew down like a streak of light. His speed had reached its peak. A vase exuding demonic aura followed closely behind him. "Qingshan." 100 Flowers Fairy looked at him in surprise. "Leave it to me, don't activate it no matter what," Gu Qingshan shouted. 100 Flowers Fairy was a bit surprised, looked at the cluster of emerald light in her hands, a bit hesitant. "Trust me," Gu Qingshan shouted at the top of her lungs. "Qingshan." 100 Flowers Fairy muttered and retracted the cluster of emerald light in her hands. Her hair returned to its original black color. At the moment of life and death for the entire world, she chose to trust him without holding anything back. The forgetting river in the sky slowly faded away. Qingro and Wan Er looked at Gu Qingshan. The skeleton girl in the sky also stared at him, muttering, "So many demons." Seeing 100 Flowers Fairy dispelling the spell in her hands, Gu Qingshan finally sighed in relief. According to the giant corpse, this was probably the most crucial moment, the most crucial push. No matter what I have to face after this, as long as 100 Flowers Fairy is alive, it doesn't matter. He calmed himself down and looked at the formation plate in front of the Zishan young master. The formation plate was lightly hitting the void of space. "Not good. I have to run. I have to make it in time, otherwise everything will be for naught." Infusing spirit energy into the vase, Gu Qingshan shouted, "Let's do it, got it." A female voice came from the void of space. "Wraith Realm Chilling Aqua Datura, dispel." The black-clothed girl appeared next to Gu Qingshan. One human and one demon, chanting the incantation at the same time. 10 worlds, boundless specks of dust, trillions of Asangji's tribulation, countless Mahasvara Tianma, encircle. After chanting the incantation, countless Tianma appeared behind the two of them. Millions of Tianma were led by Gu Qingshan and the black-clothed girl. Perhaps it was because they knew the situation was urgent, they quickly followed Gu Qingshan and chanted the incantation. Mahasvara, great Mahasvara, Mahasvara, Tianma enchantresses of all worlds, help me connect to this world. The Tianma's bodies began to give off black light, strand by strand, they all flew into the vase. As soon as the vase received the black light, it started to shake. Ahahaha, no matter what you want to do, it's already too late, the Zishan young master loudly declared. He seemed to finally be able to breathe out. But then, what exactly is going on the other side? Why were there so many stunning beauties wearing such revealing and seductive clothes falling from the sky? Could it be that in that world, female cultivators of this level are everywhere? He was now completely relaxed, greedily staring at the Tianma one by one. The formation plate hovered in front of him, crashing into the void of space and creating a hole. On the other side of the hole, chaotic air currents were being carried by the wind. That was the space vortex connecting to another world. The passage between the two worlds was slowly forming. In just 3 breaths worth of time, the Zishan young master would be able to warp away. But Gu Qingshan and the millions of Tianma with the vase were still very far away, there was no way they could make it in time. No matter what kind of powerful spell he used next, he wouldn't be able to hurt the Zishan young master. Very soon, the Zishan young master will bring even more powerful cultivators to Shen Wu world. Perhaps they might even attack the cultivation world. The fate of both worlds was at stake. At the same time, "It's too late, Wan Er, let go," Qing Ro dejectedly said. "If they don't let go, the two of them will be transported back to the other world together with the Zishan young master." "No, no, no. It shouldn't be like this," Wan Er frantically shook her head. Qing Ro stayed silent, tears flowing down her cheeks. Her hand was on Wan Er's back, while Wan Er's hand was on the Zishan young master's shoulder. Wan Er was still using all of her power to control the green flame chains, restraining the other party. Wan Er was about to lose all hope, but until the very last moment, she still wouldn't give up. At the same time, the vase in Gu Qingshan's hand was letting out a gentle glow. Within the glow, there were indescribable screams of pain. Occasionally, terrifying figures would circle around the vase and disappear. "Tianma's teleportation is complete, but the distance is too far, I won't make it in time," the black-clothed girl regretfully shook her head. "No. I'll definitely make it in time, prepare to catch him." Gu Qingshan's eyes were bloodshot as she shouted. At this point, the black-clothed girl knew that he wouldn't say anything careless. She regained her focus and became serious. "You're planning to," she didn't finish. Gu Qingshan disappeared with the vase. Divine skill, ground shrink. However, he immediately reappeared and spat out a mouthful of blood. The Zishan young master laughed. "Do you really think I'm an idiot? I've already activated 300 defensive spells to protect myself. The void of space is filled with countless defensive spells. You won't be able to get through." The two maids' eyes dimmed. 100 Flowers Fairy didn't move, still staring at him. The black-clothed girl sighed. Gu Qingshan wiped the blood from his mouth and gritted his teeth. "There's no other way, I can only..." In a single breath's time, the fate of the two worlds changed drastically. Gu Qingshan disappeared in front of the black-clothed girl. He was still holding the vase in his hand, flying forward. But a second later, he disappeared. Instead, the Zishan young master appeared. The Zishan young master appeared in front of the vase. The Zishan young master noticed that his hand was still on the vase. He was completely stunned, unable to react to what just happened. But the black-clothed girl didn't lose focus at all. She's traveled across many worlds, experienced countless wars, how could she miss such a chance? In a split second, she touched the vase with her hand and formed a hand seal. The vase glowed brightly. Demonic World Shuttle. Like a mouth, the glowing light swallowed the Zishan young master along with the countless defensive lights on his body. The Zishan young master disappeared. He was sent to the Tianma realm by the Tianma vase. On the other side, Gu Qingshan replaced the Zishan young master and appeared where he originally stood. Divine skill, shadow shift. Perhaps sensing a slight fluctuation in space, the small formation plate was disturbed by the divine skill and began to shine brightly. It activated one breath's time earlier. At this time, Wan Er's hand was on Gu Qingshan's shoulder, while Qing Ro's hand was on Wan Er's back. The light flashed. Gu Qingshan, Wan Er and Qing Ro disappeared. They were brought into the space vortex by the formation plate, heading towards the Zishan young master's world. In a split second, the entire situation changed. The battle between the three worlds came to an abrupt end. The Zishan young master, Gu Qingshan, Qing Ro and Wan Er were all transported away. Chapter 352. The blinding light faded away. The gloomy space tunnel and the sunset glow of the Tianma world both disappeared from Shen Wu world. Only 100 Flowers Fairy and the black-clothed girl were left in this part of the sky. Both of them were extremely intelligent beings, so they quickly guessed what had happened. 100 Flowers Fairy instantly disappeared and reappeared where the space tunnel originally was. She formed a hand seal and said, "Open!" The void of space opened up again in her hand. The chaotic air currents continued to flow. But this space had just been warped between two worlds, so it was very slow for it to open again. 100 Flowers Fairy stood inside the chaotic air currents, letting the intense wind blow her hair, but her eyes showed a bit of worry. "Open!" She circulated all the spirit energy in her body and shouted. Ho ho ho! The chaotic air currents once again opened up a passage in the void of space. But there was nothing inside. No formation plate. The two Tribulation Realm female cultivators with their cultivation sealed were nowhere to be seen. No Gu Qingshan. 100 Flowers Fairy froze in place. It's useless, that formation plate is too fast. If you can't keep up, you'll be lost in the void of space and won't even be able to find your way back, the black-clothed girl said. The void of space closed up again. 100 Flowers Fairy stayed silent. The black-clothed girl shook her head. Looking at the vase in her hand, the look of regret on her face disappeared without a trace. She hugged the earthenware jar in her arms, unwilling to let it go. Her eyes were filled with joy. A few moments later, she begrudgingly glared at where Gu Qingshan disappeared. That sly girl, she still hasn't given me the two-world warp formation plate, but Gu Qingshan had already gone to another world, so no matter how angry she was, there was nothing she could do. It was better to grab the spoils of war in front of her. The black-clothed girl took the vase, and was about to return to her world. "Wait a minute!" From afar, 100 Flowers Fairy called out. The black-clothed girl stopped. "I know you're the Tianma Empress incarnation, but even you can't go to that world?" 100 Flowers Fairy asked. The black-clothed girl glanced at her and slowly shook her head. "You have a good disciple." The black-clothed girl stared deeply at the 100 Flowers Fairy. As a projection realm cultivator, the inertia of fate is already very strong. It shouldn't be able to be changed, but you were actually pushed out from the abyss of death by an unknown force. I can see that the deathly aura on your body has completely dissipated. Your future path is completely empty. This emptiness is waiting for you to rewrite everything and create new variables. This is truly a rare situation. Is he really just a disciple? Can he do this for you? She suddenly asked. You don't have to affect my mind, 100 Flowers Fairy said. The black-clothed girl smiled and said, Sister, I didn't do anything. She continued, I didn't deceive you. I have a Tianma divine armament and a virtualized realm cultivator's soul. I'm satisfied this time. I've never heard of a Tianma who would talk to someone for so long without any ulterior motives, 100 Flowers Fairy said. The black-clothed girl muttered to herself. I actually allied with a human cultivator to trap an enemy. Something like this has never happened in the Tianma world for over 10,000 years, so I just couldn't help but tell you something. What is it? My payment for my appearance. He still owes me a world. If he ever returns, please notify me. I'll collect the debt. When will he return? 100 Flowers Fairy asked. How would I know? But if someone can come from that world, as long as he knows that method, he'll naturally be able to return, the black-clothed girl answered. 100 Flowers Fairy's hands in her sleeves finally loosened. Looking at the black-clothed girl, she suddenly displayed a hint of killing intent. Do you really want my disciple's soul? His soul? The black-clothed girl had a complicated expression on her face and mused. A mere rejuvenation realm cultivator was able to use everything he had to kill a virtualized realm cultivator. How could I possibly eat him? Then what do you want? I won't eat his soul. I'll ask him if he's willing to turn into a Tianma monarch and work for our Tianma world. Saying so, the black-clothed girl turned to leave. She suddenly stopped. 100 Flowers Fairy's killing intent boiled as she swung her hand to summon a spiky vine. Prove yourself, otherwise I won't let go of a Tianma who covets my disciple's life. As her voice fell, white flowers bloomed on the thorny vines. The black-clothed girl looked at the wild raging flame armor on 100 Flowers Fairy's body, then at the vine. Her expression became solemn. An Azura divine skill. Another Samsara divine skill. How strange, she muttered. Such a low realm, yet able to use the causality divine skills of both the Huang Quan and Azura realms. What kind of world would it take? The whip had already begun to swing. The black-clothed girl's expression changed and waved her hand. Stop, I'll prove it. The black-clothed girl glanced at the millions of Tianma behind her, then at 100 Flowers Fairy. She's alone, yet she dares to fight against so many at once. What kind of courage is that? The black-clothed girl's expression became serious. With her countless years of experience, she could naturally tell that the other party was currently in a state of emotional turmoil. If they were to fight right now, the other party would definitely go all out. There's also something else. The young man called Gu Qingshan is definitely worthy of being turned into a Tianma. Not to mention, I still need to rely on that young man to lead me into that world. Continuing to tangle with this terrifying woman who isn't particularly powerful isn't a good thing. With that in mind, the black-clothed girl declared, with heaven and earth as my witness, I definitely won't harm Gu Qingshan's life. Such a simple statement, but it contained the words with heaven and earth as my witness. This was a vow made by heaven and earth. Tianma follow their desires, even more fearful of the consequences of breaking a vow than cultivators. Saying so, the black-clothed girl looked at her, only to see the killing intent in 100 Flowers Fairy's limpid eyes slowly dissipating. 100 Flowers Fairy swung her whip behind her back, curtsied, and spoke. If that's the case, no matter what kind of agreement you made, as long as you don't harm him, I will thank you for your help this time. The black-clothed girl smiled in surprise and sighed emotionally. It's been so many years since I've seen a cultivator who can distinguish kindness and grudges as clearly as you. She also bowed slightly, returned the greeting, and said, farewell. Rays of light appeared from behind the black-clothed girl's back, overlapping over each other like a veil of mist. The black-clothed girl turned around and spoke to the Tianma. All of you return to the Tianma realm. A virtualized realm cultivator's soul is waiting for us to harvest. As long as you can capture him, I will give you a portion of his soul, she loudly declared. The Tianma all screamed in excitement. A virtualized realm cultivator's soul, even if it's just a tiny bit, would be enough to help them advance a step further. They circled around the vase, fluttered, and entered the light. As the black-clothed girl stepped into the light, she suddenly turned around to carefully observe 100 Flowers Fairy. Is there anything else? 100 Flowers Fairy asked. The black-clothed girl pursed her lips and shook her head. She suddenly began to sing. Orchids in the dark, lonely and helpless. There must be love, but there is no hope. The voice faded away. But countless beautiful Tianma enchantresses began to sing at the same time. Orchids in the dark, lonely and helpless. There must be love, but there is no hope. The sky was filled with female voices, as if they were greeting a peerless beauty. As the black-clothed girl finished singing, she melted into the light and disappeared. Countless Tianma followed behind, retreating from Shen Wu world. As the light faded, so did the singing. Chapter 353. In the wind, 100 flowers fairies muttering could be heard. This can't go on. If something like this happens again, I won't be able to do anything about it. She put away the thorny vine whip and looked at her hand. Green as jade, flawless. But such a pair of hands couldn't control her own fate. She clenched her hands into a fist. In this life, the one thing I, Xie Dao Ling, fear the least is cultivation. While 100 Flowers Fairy was thinking, a female voice came from next to her. What do you intend to do? It was the wild raging flame armor who asked. Fuse your world with my world, what do you think? 100 Flowers Fairy replied. The wild raging flame armor agreed. All living beings in my world are dead, but if we fuse it with your world, the weapon spirits will be able to recognize a new master. This way, the weapon spirits will have a chance to advance one step further. If that's the case, it'll also be a boost to our cultivator's strength, Bai Hua Fairy said. My world also has countless secret scriptures, as well as cultivation methods to break through. Even the scriptures for you to reach virtualized realm are complete, the wild raging flame armor said. Then we have a deal, 100 Flowers Fairy said. Very well, the wild raging flame armor agreed. One person and one armor, in just a few words they decided the fate of 2 worlds. Monk, she loudly called out. Amitba, I'm here. A dim golden light came from afar. I'll leave the matter of fusing the worlds to you. What about you? I'm going into seclusion to break through to a higher realm, Xie Daoling explained. We can't just sit around waiting to be slaughtered, and I just happen to have a few battle insights. As long as I have time to go into seclusion, I'll definitely be able to advance one step further. The great monk of sorrow looked at Bai Hua Fairy Xie Daoling in shock. How long has it been, and she's already breaking through again? Amitba, Benefactor Xie's talent is unparalleled. This old monk is ashamed of his own inferiority, the great monk of sorrow said a bit blankly. Amitba, don't underestimate yourself too much, you're just a bit old, the bowl consoled him. The alms bowl flew up and flew towards a certain direction. Sorrow, I know how to fuse worlds together, come with me, it said. The great monk of sorrow followed closely behind. 100 Flowers Fairy watched them leave and asked, What are your plans? The primordial raging flame battle armor said, From the moment you put on me, I recognized you as my master. 100 Flowers Fairy's eyes were filled with warmth. Then follow me into seclusion. All right. Gu Qingshan was shuttling through the space-time turbulence. Every time he broke through a major realm, his soul would leave his body and enter the space-time turbulence. But it was different this time. This time, his real body had entered the space-time turbulence. The small formation plate in front gave off a hazy light that enveloped the 3 of them, and they flew in a certain direction. The green flame chains had long since dispersed. The 2 women were in a very dispirited state, and the shackles that imprisoned them once again sealed their spiritual power. Was that shadow shift just now? Qing Ro stared closely at Gu Qingshan and asked. Yes, Gu Qingshan answered. You and the Tianma Empress sent Qi Yan into the Tianma world? Qing Ro continued to ask. Yes, Gu Qingshan answered. It was now that Qing Ro sighed in relief, clasped her hands in front of her chest and muttered. The Tianma world is a sealed world. The Tianma would definitely not let go of such a powerful soul like him, which means Qi Yan is dead for sure. 2 streams of tears flowed down her cheeks. Wan Er hesitantly asked, Big sis, what are you saying? Qing Ro turned around and hugged her, sobbing as she spoke. Wan Er, Qi Yan was sent to a place of certain death. He's dead. He's dead. Really? You're not lying to me? Wan Er asked in disbelief. What happened just now was exactly as the two of them said, but she still couldn't be sure. I'm not lying, Qing-ro wiped her tears. I swear on my Tao heart, if I'm lying to you, may my soul vessel be destroyed. He's dead. Wan-er finally confirmed it. Her eyes were blank as she spoke. She suddenly burst into tears, sobbing. Father, Mother, I'm alive, I've avenged you. Qing-ro hugged her, she also hugged Qing-ro, both of them crying. Gu Qing-shan originally wanted to say something, but seeing the two of them like this, she could only silently stand on one side. After crying for a while, Qing-ro turned to him. Perhaps you don't know how important what you've done is to us, but that's fine, I'll tell you later, she continued to sob. Don't worry, there's still a bit of time before we reach the other world, let us cry for a bit first, alright, Gu Qing-shan replied. Qing-ro nodded, then began to cry again. It was as if she had suffered so much humiliation that she wanted to vent out all the grievances she'd been hiding in her heart for the past few years. Wan-er cried even harder, tears and snot flowing down her face. The two Tribulation Realm cultivators were crying like little girls. After a while, they finally calmed down. Qing-ro held Wan-er's hand, walked in front of Gu Qing-shan, and knelt down to greet her. Qing-ro spoke. I am Nan Gong. Qing-ro. Wan-er spoke. I am Yun. Wan-er. Nan Gong. Qing-ro spoke. We came from different worlds, but both of our worlds were taken over by Guangyang sect. Our family members died at the hands of Qi Yan and his father, while our worlds were fused into Guangyang sect's grotto heaven. Because Yun Wan-er and I were too beautiful, our cultivations were sealed and we became Qi Yan's slaves, living a life worse than death every day. Today, you borrowed the power of the Tianma to kill him. Wan-er and I have no way to repay you, but we'll definitely find a way to let you live. Yun Wan-er also nodded. Thank you for killing him for me, even if I die later. I won't have any regrets. The two girls exchanged glances and understood each other's intentions. That's why, when we get there, we'll use our life-risking techniques to attack Guangyang sect, creating chaos so that you can escape, Qing-ro spoke. Yun Wan-er spoke. South of Guangyang sect is by Yen River, you'll hide in the river, float along with the current and find a way to leave Guangyang sect. They won't be able to find you, Nan Gong. Qing-ro spoke. You'll be able to live after changing your name, you'll be able to cultivate while looking for a chance to return to your own world, she added. Don't worry, after we kill a few Guangyang sect disciples, we'll immediately detonate our soul vessel, we won't let Qi Yan's father catch you and expose your existence. Wait, Gu Qing-shan felt a headache coming and couldn't help but ask. Are we going to have to risk our lives after we warp over? Nan Gong. Qing-ro replied. You're not a disciple of Guangyang sect, and you're only a rejuvenation realm cultivator, you'll be captured as soon as you meet them, they won't hold back. Gu Qing-shan thought for a bit, then asked. What about Qi Yan? What do you mean? Yun Wan-er couldn't help but ask. What if the one we meet is Qi Yan? Nan Gong. Qing-ro was a smart girl, looked at him and answered. He's the son of Guangyang sect's master, no one dares to offend him. Gu Qing-shan thought for a bit, then remembered Ling Tianxing's evaluation of himself. These two girls also said the same thing. He said, I seem to look a bit similar to Qi Yan? The two beauties froze. You mean? Nan Gong. Qing-ro's eyes lit up. Gu Qing-shan nodded. They're so strong, fighting them head-on is the same as seeking death, why would we need to fight them? He looked at the two girls and slowly spoke. I hope you won't talk about death so easily, you should live on for the sake of your dead family members, that way you won't have to bear the humiliation you've endured for so long. Yun Wan-er still didn't understand and said, If we can all live, that would be great, but we can't deal with so many high-ranking cultivators of Guangyang sect. Nan Gong. Qing-ro looked at him and smirked. I have an immature idea. Seeing that Nan Gong. Qing-ro seemed to understand a bit, Gu Qing-shan smiled. Can you cooperate with me a bit? Nan Gong. Qing-ro nodded. I'll tell you everything about Qi Yan. That's not enough, I want information on all 3 generations of his closest relatives, everything he's done, everything he's said, who he's enemies with, what he likes to eat, what he usually wears, how he sleeps, what kind of women he likes, the methods he uses to kill people, his reputation in the sect, the spells he's good at. I want to know everything. Also, what kind of world is this? What kind of authority does Guang Yang sect have? You better tell me as well, Gu Qingshan quickly explained. Yun Wan finally understood and looked at him in shock. But you only look a bit like him, you're not really him. I'll worry about that, just prepare the information, I'll use it right away, Gu Qingshan said. Then how will you face Qi Yan's father? He's currently facing his tribulation, about to become a cryptic realm cultivator, Nan Gong Qing Ro asked. I'll act according to the situation. Gu Qingshan touched the Tianma bell on his arm and answered concisely. His tone was very calm, but the two girls still couldn't believe it. Looking at him, Nan Gong Qing Ro suddenly remembered how he dealt with Qi Yan. He's only a rejuvenation realm cultivator, yet the Tianma Empress cooperated with him. Together with the Tianma, he killed a virtualized realm cultivator. Since when did such a thing happen? Nan Gong Qing Ro felt a bit more confident. She took out a jade tag and gave it to Gu Qingshan. We've been recording and preparing for a chance to kill him, she explained. Chapter 354. At this time, notifications were popping up on the War God UI. Gu Qingshan looked at the War God UI. A few lines of glowing text were hovering there. Golden Core / Rejuvenation Dual Realm Thaumaturgy Quest completed. You've completed 7 quests, obtained a chance to draw a Dual Realm Thaumaturgy. You've successfully survived temporarily. You've obtained the Divine Skill. Shadow Shift. These lines of glowing text hovered there, waiting for Gu Qingshan to finish reading before disappearing. New lines of glowing text appeared. Destiny Quest. Decisive Battle 2, a quest description. The fate of the world and an individual converge. At the moment of a storm, everything in the world's fate will change. Quest objective. In the coming days, at least make sure that Shen Wu world remains the same. Quest completed. As soon as Gu Qingshan read through them, they turned to ash. New lines of text appeared. You've completed the Destiny Quest. Decisive Battle 2. Congratulations, you've obtained all of the War God title options. From now on, you'll be able to use War God title. You've made sure that Shen Wu world remains the same, as well as plotted to kill the culprit. You've completed the quest. Additional reward unlocked. Additional reward. After you return to reality, you can return at any time. No longer have a time limit. The user can now immediately return to reality. A few more lines of red text appeared. Frowny face. Unique quest has appeared. Unique quest. Wu San must die. Quest description. Attention user, in a completely unknown world, there is only one cultivator who knows about Shen Wu world and the cultivation world. Kill this person, and no one will ever know about the existence of these two worlds again. This matter is related to the ultimate fate of both worlds. The user must deal with it seriously. Quest objective. Before the secret is discovered by others, kill this person who knows about it. Quest reward. The user can choose any other quest and immediately complete it. After reading through the quest, Gu Qingshan nodded. This is also something that he's been keeping in mind. When he was scouting the enemy's camp, he killed 2 cultivators from unknown worlds who were in charge of scouting. At the time, he used soul reading on one of them and found out that the Zishan young master had a trusted aide. This trusted aide knew everything, but didn't come to Shen Wu world. This person's name was Wu San. The others who knew about this were all killed by the heavenly demons. The Zishan young master was also sent to the Tianma world. He will die sooner or later. The only person who knew the truth was Wu San. If the Zishan young master doesn't show up, his father will definitely ask about this. As the Zishan young master's trusted aide, Wu San will definitely be questioned in detail. At that time, Shen Wu world and the cultivation world won't be able to hide anymore. If the Zishan young master's father successfully passes his tribulation, he'll be a cryptic realm cultivator. He would become the most powerful existence in that world. If the Zishan young master's father takes action, the two worlds won't be able to resist at all. Gu Qingshan sighed. He didn't expect things to become so complicated. Fortunately, his master had survived. Therefore, everything was worth it. He looked at the space vortex, then at the two girls next to him. A glowing door suddenly appeared in front of him. Inside the glowing door, there was an abundance of spiritual energy that was blown out along with the wind. Such vigorous spiritual power seemed to have its own life force. Gu Qingshan only took 2 breaths, and she felt extremely comfortable. What a wonderful state, he muttered. Unfortunately, such a world is about to come to an end. The Demon Lord is about to destroy everything. I need to find a chance to see exactly what that terrifying Demon Lord is. But first, I need to think of a way to survive. While Gu Qingshan was thinking, the 2 girls next to her became anxious. We're almost there. You might not be able to disguise as him in time, Nan Gong Qing Ro hurriedly spoke. If you can't, we'll have to risk our lives. You can take that chance to escape, Yun Wan Er also said. That's right, you have a divine skill like shadow shift. You'll definitely be able to escape, Nan Gong Qing Ro also said. Gu Qingshan glanced at them. Right now, they're thinking of using their lives to repay his kindness. After going through so much hardship, I didn't think they'd still be able to keep their original hearts. Truly admirable. Such a person was trustworthy as a companion by his side. Very well, Gu Qingshan muttered. Return. Time stopped at this moment. A screen of light flashed. Gu Qingshan escaped from the current flow of time, being pushed into another space vortex by some sort of power. Rain. Cold rain. Rain mixed with bits of ice, falling from the night sky. It was still daytime when I left, but when I returned, it was already nighttime. For every day spent in the cultivation world, 1 hour would pass in reality. Gu Qingshan stood in the cold rain, catching the rainwater with her hand. The rain was bone-chilling. Whenever the demons attack, the world will always rain. This is a typical characteristic of the apocalypse. After the last rain stopped, the game of eternal appeared in this world. What about this rain? Gu Qingshan looked up at the night sky. The rain was still pouring down, and it doesn't seem like it'll stop anytime soon. That's fine. Before the rain stops, before the demons appear, I need to quickly finish what I need to do. The hollow brain in her chest pocket lit up. Good evening, sir. The current temperature is -3 Celsius, northwest wind level 5. Strong wind and cold rain will negatively affect your health. Please take care to avoid the rain. Impartial Goddess reminded her with concern. Gu Qingshan answered. I know, where are they? Impartial Goddess answered. Mr. Zhang Yongho is currently planning an assassination against the Holy Church. Mr. Liao Xing is bringing Mr. Yi Feili to the capital's Rainbow Bar for a drink. A drink? Gu Qingshan smiled and was about to head towards the mountaintop mansion. But Impartial Goddess continued. While you weren't here, I received a signal from the Blazing Angel. What signal? The signal that you set up to report an abnormal situation. Gu Qingshan's mind went blank. Su Cher? What happened to her? Tell me everything immediately, Gu Qingshan ordered. A bright light came from the sky, landing in front of Gu Qingshan. The Blazing Angel mech. The Blazing Angel spoke. Sir, Su Cher went to the North Pole, then lost contact. Do you know where? The signal disappeared at a certain point in the North Pole. Let's go. The mech's cockpit opened as Gu Qingshan jumped inside. The mech closed up as a pair of wings of light spread out. The Blazing Angel mech flew to the sky, letting out an intense sonic boom as it headed north. In the sky. The further north they go, the colder it gets. The wind howled, the snow covered the ground. The Blazing Angel wasn't afraid of the snow, flying as fast as it could. Impartial Goddess' voice came. Sir, the area around the North Pole is filled with unknown disturbances. The Blazing Angel will not be able to approach. Open the hatch, Gu Qingshan ordered. Sir, it's freezing outside at 10,000 meters. It's okay, open the hatch. The blazing angel's hatch opened. Gu Qingshan jumped out, hovering in the middle of the snowstorm. Spirit energy surged around his body, repelling the cold wind and snow at least a meter away. Go to the near-Earth orbit satellite, I'll go the rest of the way myself, Gu Qingshan told the blazing angel. Yes, Your Excellency. The blazing angel turned into a streak of light and flew away. Gu Qingshan tapped his inventory bag and took out his airship. He piloted the airship and continued to fly towards the North Pole. Why would she come to a place like this? Gu Qingshan asked. Young Lady Su Cher has become the lord of the Su family, heading to the North Pole to receive the Nine Lords' inheritance ceremony, Impartial Goddess answered. She became a lord? Gu Qingshan was a bit surprised. If what you're saying is true, then this is something that every lord of the Nine Lords would have to go through? That's right, Impartial Goddess answered. Gu Qingshan sighed in relief. Although this seems to be a tradition of the Nine Lords' inheritance ceremony, Su Cher really did lose contact with them. Help me check if anything happened to any lords during the Nine Lords' inheritance ceremony, Gu Qingshan said. Checking information on lords is a very complicated process. It'll take a bit of time, Impartial Goddess answered. That's fine, just check it now, I want to know the results. Gu Qingshan waited for a bit, feeling a bit impatient. After thinking for a bit, he decided to check the situation first. Chapter 355. A few minutes later, Gu Qingshan arrived at the North Pole. As he was about to control the airship to continue flying forward, a figure appeared in the middle of the snowstorm. It was a black figure, covered by a thick cloak so his face couldn't be seen clearly. At the same time, a voice resounded in Gu Qingshan's mind. I am the protector of the Nine Lords, this is our ancestral land, who are you? What do you want here? This was a telepathic god's chosen skill. Gu Qingshan looked at the figure. A power as deep as the sea erupted from the figure, turning into sharp killing intent. Indeed, this is someone else's territory after all, and also Su Cher's territory. Thinking that, Gu Qingshan stopped the airship. He came down from the airship, flew in front of the figure and spoke. This humble one is Gu Qingshan, I'm here to look for Su Cher. Why are you looking for her? She's a friend of mine, I suddenly lost contact with her. The last news I heard of her was from the North Pole, is that true? Not a single lie. The figure raised her hand and drew a card from the void of space. She then tied a long strand of hair onto the card. Yesterday once again, the figure muttered in a low voice. The card instantly scattered into a dense cluster of light spots. The sprites of light rotated in the air, turning into an illusory screen. Gu Qingshan and Su Cher's images appeared. The two of them sat down to eat. A second later, Gu Qingshan stroked Su Cher's head. So you really are Shui Er's friend, and here I thought you were another combatant who wanted to pry into the Nine Lords' secrets. The figure's killing intent dissipated, her tone also became a bit calmer. Where is she? Gu Qingshan asked. You should go, she's currently receiving the Nine Lords' inheritance, it's not convenient for her to see you, can I take a look? Of course not, in fact. Anyone who tried to pry into the Nine Lords' secrets is already dead. What if I insist? Gu Qingshan asked. A sword appeared in his hand. The protector of the Nine Lords instinctively wanted to draw a card, but then retracted her hand. She looked at Gu Qingshan and recalled the scene she saw in the illusion. This young man had a close relationship with Shui. He could even fly here. The protector of the Nine Lords paused for a bit, then changed her tone. If that's the case, Su Cher will feel bad. Gu Qingshan was startled and asked, What do you mean? She's from the Nine Lords, and she's also the Lord of the Nine Lords, and her ancestors and clansmen are buried here. Are you sure you want to make a move here? What do you think? Gu Qingshan's momentum stagnated. I don't care at all if I barge into the Nine Lords' ancestral grounds. But Su Cher was the lord of the 9 lords, which meant that this was the burial ground of her ancestors. If he acted like a little kid and insisted on making a scene in her ancestors' graveyard, that's not good. Gu Qingshan retracted her aura completely. Looks like you're a sensible person. The figure had a gentle smile on his face. Can I ask something? How is she right now? Gu Qingshan asked very seriously. She's doing very well. I've checked her fate several times. The shadow of death has already left her. She's currently spreading her wings and flying, the figure spoke proudly. Very soon, her power will be unimaginable to you. Gu Qingshan sensed the other party's power. This level of power should be at the peak of this world. A combatant of this level wouldn't casually lie about something like this. Gu Qingshan tried asking, "You seem to care a lot about Shui-Er?" The figure replied, "Of course, this is my 9 lords' ancestral grounds. Who do you think I am to her?" Gu Qingshan facepalmed. "I'm so worried that I'm confused. This is the 9 lords' ancestral grounds, so the other party is obviously a combatant who guards this place. If I'm not careful, this person might even be related to Shui-Er by blood." The figure then asked, "But you, who are you? What does this have to do with our Shui-Er?" Gu Qingshan was surprised. Why did the topic suddenly change so much? "I feel like I'm knocking on your door." At this point, the hollow brain lit up. In the last 400 years of records, every lord has successfully gone through the ceremony of inheritance. Impartial Goddess showed the results of her search. If that's the case, Shui-Er should be fine as well. Gu Qingshan calmed down. If so many lords have gone through the ceremony of inheritance and are still alive and well, then this inheritance shouldn't be too dangerous. I'm the same, coming here without knowing what's going on. Who would like a guy who comes to their family's ancestral grounds? I'm sorry, I'll leave Shui-Er to you. I just remembered there's something urgent I need to take care of. Saying so, Gu Qingshan clasped her fist solemnly. After bowing, Gu Qingshan flew away without looking back. From the looks of it, it felt like he was running away. The figure silently watched him leave. Flight, this child's power is truly shocking. In this world, there are only 3 kinds of people who can fly without any external help. 5th stage elementalist. Martial saint of martial arts. Gods chosen who have reached the 5th stage of their God's chosen skill and will soon have their own card or scroll. This is common knowledge recognized by the entire world. Every professionist, and even every normal person knows this very well. The fact that he could fly so stably in the middle of a snowstorm at such a young age speaks volumes. This was also the reason why the protector of the 9 lords didn't act right away. This youngster isn't bad. Shui-Er will need someone like this to help her in the future, she muttered. The protector of the 9 lords turned around and flew all the way to the foot of the mountain, at the very top of the North Pole. She stopped in front of a small house. "Come out," she called out. The 8 lords came out one by one, nervously looking at the protector. "Su Cher is still undergoing her test. You don't need to wait for her. Go first," the protector told them. "According to the rules, shouldn't we bring her back with us?" one of the lords asked. "She's by herself, how could she go back?" another lord asked. "You don't need to test me," the protector smiled and said. "She's about to become extremely powerful. She'll be able to make it back to the North Pole by herself. She doesn't need you to lead the way." Saying so, the protector flew up the mountain without looking back. "Did you hear that?" one of the lords looked at the protector's disappearing figure and asked. "That's right, seems like that little girl chose strength, and the result isn't too bad either. This is really surprising." The lords went silent. A new combatant of this world is about to be born. And this combatant is one of the 9 lords. What should the other 8 lords do now? The lords packed their things and thought about what to do next. "A girl will eventually have to get married," one of the lords muttered. "According to my intel, she already has someone she likes," another lord said. "Which lord's direct descendant is it?" Another lord asked curiously. He's not one of us. The lords all stopped what they were doing. No, one of them suddenly said, the reins of a powerful force should be in our hands. Gu Qingshan hurriedly retreated. But he felt relieved. Since Su Cher is fine, there's no need to worry anymore. She's a member of the Nine Lords, let her continue breaking through in the Nine Lords' ancestral grounds. Not to mention, I've left a backup plan on the Blazing Angel Ring. If there's any danger, it'll be able to help her. Alright, there's nothing else to do for now. Gu Qingshan sighed tiredly. She's been running around 2 worlds at a time. Her mind has been stretched taut without a single moment of rest. If only she could rest a bit. Let's go have a drink first before we talk about anything else. Help me transfer Liao Xing and Yi Fei Li's locations. Rainbow Bar's location has been transferred, Impartial Goddess answered. Gu Qingshan checked the location on the holobrain, summoned an airship and flew towards the Federation capital. The Freedom Federation. The capital. In a crowded bar. Liao Xing took Yi Fei Li and sat down at a booth. Liao Xing drank a large glass of liquor, then took a cigar and happily took a puff. It's so comfortable here, he happily said. If I could make a wish, I'd be able to live like this every day. Your wish is pretty boring, Yi Fei Li commented. What about you? What wish do you have? Liao Xing casually asked. He put a glass of liquor in front of Yi Fei Li. Yi Fei Li pushed her sunglasses up a bit, raised the glass and took a big gulp. Wish. I have a lot of wishes, greedy brat. You can only say one. I want to find a girlfriend. You fucking need to be realistic. I want to live a normal life. Alright, let's talk. What kind of girlfriend do you want? I don't have anything to say to you, Yi Fei Li angrily said. At this point, a beautiful woman walked past them. A fragrant breeze. Both of them went silent. Liao Xing lowered his voice and counted to 3. Yi Fei Li shook her head. You old pervert, you only know how to talk, but you can't even do what you said. What did I say? You said that as long as you hit on them, there would be a lot of girls throwing themselves at you. You even said that you would teach me how to get along with women. Ah? Is that so? Did I say that? Liao Xing was a bit drunk, so he casually answered. That's right, a fugitive who faked his death came to a bar with a man-killer fiend. The fugitive wanted to show the man-killer fiend how to hit on them. If it weren't for Impartial Goddess keeping an eye on them, they would have already caused trouble. You old bastard, you don't even remember what you said, Yi Fei Li angrily said again. I remember, how could I forget? I'll teach you right now, Liao Xing said. He looked around, only to see that none of the girls in the bar were paying attention to him. That's true, an old drunkard who's constantly pouring alcohol into his mouth, a shy young man wearing sunglasses under the dim light. Not only does this combination look awkward, it's also a bit strange. Everyone's here to have fun. Who would be interested in such a strange person? Hey, pretty girl, do you want to get a drink together? Liao Xing greeted the girl sitting next to him. The beauty glanced at him, rolled her eyes, and turned to the other side. Failed to hit on him. So you only know how to brag, and here I thought you really knew how to get along with women, Yi Fei Li muttered in disappointment. Brag? When did I ever brag? Liao Xing sat up straight and glared at her. Yi Fei Li puffed out her chest, mimicking his manner and tone. Hitting on people is a very simple art. I can talk to any girl, Liao Xing. That's right, it's a piece of cake. Why don't you beg them to talk to you? Yi Fei Li mocked him. Brat, don't push me, as long as I use my true male charm. As Liao Xing said that, his expression became serious. He put the bottle down, turned on his hollow brain and contacted Impartial Goddess. Honorable Goddess, I have a question. Mr. Liao, please ask, what kind of equipment and materials do I need to purchase for my warp device miniaturization technology? How many credits did Gu Qingshan prepare for this? The materials you need are as follows. Quantum accelerator, miniature power core. Impartial Goddess then replied to each of them. Liao Xing silently listened until the end. For some reason, his hand suddenly slipped and accidentally turned the holobrain's volume to the max. A voice came from the hollow brain. So your available balance is 1,196 million Federation credits. The loud voice echoed throughout the bar. There was a strange silence. Everyone turned their heads in unison and sized up the two strange people. Ah, damn this hollow brain, it's always malfunctioning, Liao Xing loudly shouted. He angrily slapped the hollow brain, shrugging at everyone. Sorry for bothering you all, he appeared very embarrassed. Everyone turned their heads and returned to their normal state. A second later, "Hey, uncle, is there anyone here?" A voice came from behind them. The two of them turned around to see a beautiful young girl. The girl smiled brightly, tilting her head to Liao Xing. Both her figure and face, she looked absolutely stunning. "Have a seat, order whatever you want to drink, it's my treat," Liao Xing said. The girl giggled, twisting her hips as she sat next to Liao Xing. Another girl's voice came. "Uncle, I see there's still a seat here, can I sit for a bit?" "Have a seat," not even a minute passed. Another girl came, pulling a chair from the side and sat down. "Although the seats are full, we can still squeeze a bit." All right, everyone sit, it's fine, let's make friends and have some fun," Liao Xing said. He winked at Yi Fei Li. Chapter 356. Yi Fei Li suddenly sensed something. This presence. Yi Fei Li suddenly looked up, looking in a certain direction, only to see a young man sitting at the bar with his back to her. The man received a bottle of liquor from the bartender, poured himself a glass and downed it in one gulp. "He's here," as Yi Fei Li said so, she stood up and quickly walked over. "Who? What?" Liao Xing was busy chatting with the other girls, so he didn't understand. Yi Fei Li had already walked to the bar, sitting down next to Gu Qingshan. Gu Qingshan also poured him a glass. "Is the bar fun?" Gu Qingshan asked. "That old pervert insisted on coming, I don't mind," Yi Fei Li raised her glass. They clinked their glasses and downed it in one gulp. Yi Fei Li scowled. "I'm not used to this kind of strong liquor," Gu Qingshan looked at the bottle. "This is one of the strongest liquors in the world. Yi Fei Li likes liquor that's a bit light and sweet. I'm sorry, this is just my taste, I'll get you another one." Saying so, Gu Qingshan was about to call the bartender. Yi Fei Li stopped him, saying, "No need, it's fine to drink once in a while." Gu Qingshan took the bottle and filled it up. "Another one?" "Sure." The two of them finished their glasses again. Yi Fei Li scowled, grinning. "Since you like to drink such strong liquor, you must have gone through a lot of hard times, who hasn't?" Gu Qingshan smiled. He continued, "Drinking won't make you feel better, you might think it'll numb you, but it won't, it'll only burn in your chest. It'll keep burning for a while, giving you a bit of emptiness." Yi Fei Li nodded. She took the bottle and poured herself a glass, then filled up Gu Qingshan's glass. "What were you busy with? Why do you look so tired?" he asked. "To save two worlds," Gu Qingshan simply replied. "Poochie." A beautiful woman beside him laughed out loud. Her male companion was already half drunk. He laughed and said, "Save the world. Haha, save the world." The two of them turned a deaf ear to him. "A toast to you." "All right." Gu Qingshan emptied the cup in one gulp and turned to look at Yi Fei Li. Yi Fei Li didn't pay attention to the bystanders. She also raised her cup and drained it in one gulp. "This wine doesn't suit your taste. Why are you drinking so much today?" Gu Qingshan asked curiously. "Just a small matter." As Yi Fei Li spoke, she reached for the bottle again. Gu Qingshan pushed his hand away and filled their glasses with the bottle of liquor. "None of your matters are small matters, tell me," he said very seriously. Yi Fei Li hesitated for a bit, then finally said, "I want to find a girlfriend." Gu Qingshan raised the glass and took a sip. "Go on," Gu Qingshan said. Yi Fei Li continued, "I want to see her." Gu Qingshan couldn't help but ask, "You mean your ex-girlfriend?" "Yes, why?" "Recently I've been hearing her crying right next to my ear." "You can hear her crying?" "A god's chosen skill." "That's right, this is my god's chosen skill. Listen, how familiar are you with your God's chosen skill? Barely, Yi Fei Li answered. Every now and then, I can hear different things at different times. That's a pretty good skill. What can you hear? Gu Qingshan asked. What I know so far, for example, in the first hour, I can hear sounds from outside the wall, so on and so forth. In the second hour, I can hear sounds from underground. In the third hour, I can hear the sounds of plants. In the fourth hour, I can hear the voices of animals. In the fifth hour, I can hear the voices of the sky. In the sixth hour, I can hear the voices of other people. In the seventh hour, I don't know what kind of sound I'm hearing, Yi Fei Li added. I still haven't heard anything after the 8th hour. You heard your ex-girlfriend crying at the 6th hour? Gu Qingshan asked. No, it was the 7th hour, Yi Fei Li answered. That's strange, Gu Qingshan muses. That's right, so I want to go take a look. You want to see your ex-girlfriend? Then what are you waiting for? Go. Yi Fei Li hesitated and said. She said before that she doesn't want to see me again. When the apocalypse came, she left me behind and ran away with an aristocrat. She didn't do it right. Yi Fei Li was a bit annoyed. I don't want to see her again. She's probably in someone else's arms right now. I really don't want to see that, he tried to explain. I just wanted to understand my God's chosen skill better, so I had to go. Gu Qingshan looked at him and clapped her hand. Sir? The bartender came and politely asked. Gu Qingshan whispered something to the bartender. The bartender quickly came back with some liquor, fruits, a small plate, salt, and other ingredients, placing them on Gu Qingshan's table. Gu Qingshan skillfully mixed a cocktail. He put it in front of Yi Fei Li. What is this? Yi Fei Li asked. Margarita, a lover's drink. I'm guessing it suits your taste, Gu Qingshan said. Thanks, Yi Fei Li drank it. This drink suits his taste. He put the glass down and started talking. That year, when the school organized a walking tour, although I liked her, I didn't say a single word to her. It wasn't until the end that she handed me a bottle of drink with a blushing face and asked if I could take a picture with her. Yi Fei Li reminisced. I was very surprised at the time. I didn't think she'd like me. After that, we got together. Even after we graduated and got a job, she liked to laugh, liked to play games, always pulled me into the game rankings. Everything we said to each other, the other would always be able to follow up. Seeing his expression, Gu Qingshan made him another glass of liquor. Gu Qingshan stared at him until he drank the entire glass before asking, You've always been thinking about her? It's been 3 years. That bottle of drink has already expired, but I've been hiding it and never opened it. Yi Fei Li stared at the glass. I want to see her one more time, but only from afar so that she won't notice. Gu Qingshan evaluated him. Yi Fei Li's expression was full of hesitation and nervousness, as well as a bit of reminiscence. There wasn't a bit of the man-killer fiend king's presence, nor was there the murder clown's madness. As soon as Yi Fei Li said that, he shook his head and muttered, Forget it, since she dumped me, there's no point in me going to see her again. Then don't go, Gu Qingshan tried asking. But she's been crying right next to my ear. I don't know what to do. Yi Fei Li was a bit confused. Gu Qingshan went silent for a bit, then asked, What are you afraid of? Yi Fei Li picked up the glass and took a big gulp. I just feel that as a man I shouldn't lower myself to see her like this. I've already lost once. This is like admitting my failure again. No, you're wrong. You don't need to care about the rules of the world. You don't need to care about what other people think. You should do what you want from the bottom of your heart, Gu Qingshan said. Hearing that, Yi Fei Li lowered his head and scratched his head with both hands. Ding dong! Ding dong! Ding dong! The bar's ancient clock chimed one after another. A new hour had arrived. Yi Fei Li suddenly stopped. Listen, he appeared to be listening. She's crying again. Before, she only knew how to smile, but now she's crying every day. Ask her why she's crying, Gu Qingshan said. Chapter 357. That's not right. What did Yi Fei Li hear? God's chosen skills are the manifestation of the laws of the world. There are so many different kinds of them that a human's mind can't fully comprehend them. There have been a few strange gods' chosen skills that the user couldn't understand even after death. Gu Qingshan muses. How about this? I'll go with you, really? Yi Fei Li's eyes lit up. Hesitating to do anything is a bad sign for you. You need to get rid of that, Gu Qingshan seriously told her. But I really don't know if I should go or not, Yi Fei Li bitterly said. Alright, don't think too much about it. We'll go right now, Gu Qingshan decided. Hey, boss, why are you here? Liao Xing brought 3 to 4 girls with him. Hearing him call her boss, the girls all looked at Gu Qingshan with sparkling eyes. I've organized a few thousand cultivation scriptures. They're all with impartial goddess. Remember to take them out and sort them out, got it? Gu Qingshan said. Scriptures? All right, I'll start work tomorrow, Liao Xing answered. Cultivation scriptures. Impartial goddess. Ahahaha, is this an act? The man next to them perked up his ears and repeated with a laugh. He then whispered something to the people next to him. A few moments later, a lot of people held back their laughter and looked at Gu Qingshan. I'm going out with Yi Fei Li to do something. You go back early, be careful, Gu Qingshan said, then stood up to leave. Yes, boss, go do what you need to do, Liao Xing said. Yi Fei Li hesitated a bit, then followed behind Gu Qingshan. The man next to them suddenly shouted, Bro, you're going to save the world again? The bar counter was filled with laughter. Obviously, the joke just now had already spread to all the men and women in front of the counter. Gu Qingshan and Yi Fei Li ignored him. As they walked out, all the people and things in front of them automatically made way for them. The door of the bar was also opened by an unknown force. The two of them walked to the door and flew up into the sky. A streak of blue lightning and a streak of scarlet blood light quickly streaked across the horizon. The bar was silent. Even an idiot would know what kind of person could fly freely. These two guys. Liao Xing muttered under his breath. No, how can they leave me out of the limelight? Bro, with a cigarette in his mouth, Liao Xing walked in front of the man and said, You seem to have a problem with my brother just now? He narrowed his eyes and stared coldly at the other party. It's a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. Big brother, I really didn't do it on purpose. The man had long since sobered up, and at this moment, he was covered in cold sweat. These were the strongest existences in the world, and 2 of them had appeared at once. And he was just joking with them. This was a matter of life and death. He quickly lit the fire for Liao Xing. Please calm down. What do you want to drink tonight? My treat. Humph. Watch what you say next time. You can't mess with my 2 brothers, Liao Xing scoffed, then sat between the 2 girls. Half an hour later, Gu Qingshan and Yi Fei Li stood in front of the tombstone. Yi Fei Li crouched down, reading the words on the tombstone. So you were here. His expression was sorrowful as he looked up at the void of space above the tombstone. That's right, I came to see you. I can really hear your voice. This is my God's chosen skill. For 1 hour I can talk to you. There was nothing above the tombstone. Yi Fei Li was seriously talking to the void of space. Why did you suddenly disappear? Did you drink too much and fall from the 5th floor to your death? No, I'm not happy about that. I've already stopped blaming you for what happened before. I really don't blame you. At the time there were man-killer fiends and man-eater fiends everywhere, and I wasn't by your side. The reason why I didn't look for you was because... Yi Fei Li slowly took off his sunglasses, revealing a pair of crimson eyes. At the time, I couldn't control myself. I killed every single person who came into contact with me. It wasn't until later, when I became stronger and stronger, that I was able to barely control myself. I'm now the king of man-killer fiends. Don't laugh, I'm serious. Don't cry, look, I'm still alive and well. Gu Qingshan silently watched this. As a cultivator, he could see the void of space with a single thought. A pure young girl was sitting on top of the tombstone, crying. So during this 1 hour, Yi Fei Li could hear the voices of the dead. While he was thinking, Yi Fei Li suddenly turned around and pulled him in front of the tombstone. "This is my friend. He's the Federation's most famous mobile mech expert." Yi Fei Li looked at Gu Qingshan and said, "She's saying hello." Gu Qingshan looked at the girl and smiled. "Hello, I'm Gu Qingshan." The girl said something to Yi Fei Li. Gu Qingshan couldn't hear it, so he looked at Yi Fei Li. Yi Fei Li then answered, "That's right, he's a good person. He even designed a mobile mech for me." "That's right," he said as if he was showing off a treasure. "You definitely don't know, but I'm actually the murder clown." "Ah ha ha ha, you don't believe me?" Yi Fei Li looked at Gu Qingshan. Yi Fei Li wanted to show off, so Gu Qingshan naturally didn't object. "Impartial goddess." "Understood," Impartial goddess replied. The mobile mech quickly landed in front of the tombstone. Yi Fei Li put on the murder mech. He put on the clown helmet. An adjusted voice came from behind the helmet. "So, do you believe me this time? Your man is actually a peerless hero." He suddenly stopped talking, and his entire body froze in place. Gu Qingshan couldn't help but ask, "What's the matter?" 1 hour is up. Yi Fei Li's God's chosen skill only allows him to hear the voices of the dead during this hour. After this hour, he'll have to wait a few more hours before he can hear the voices of the dead again. Yi Fei Li took off his mobile mech and forced a smile. "Don't worry, in a few more hours I'll be able to hear your voice again. We're going to do something first, we'll come back later." "Don't worry, I'll definitely come back." Yi Fei Li glanced at Gu Qingshan. The two of them left the tombstone and walked to the road outside. Yi Fei Li didn't say anything, so Gu Qingshan also didn't say anything. She said that after she got drunk, she fell to her death. Yi Fei Li suddenly said, But she never drank." "Impartial goddess," Gu Qingshan said. Impartial goddess's voice came. "Federation citizen Lu Shijun drank too much alcohol and fell to her death from the 5th floor." Gu Qingshan asked, "What's the truth?" "A young master of the Wang family drank too much, lost his mind and pushed her down from the 5th floor, falling to her death. The Wang family is one of the 9 lords. I haven't prepared anything yet, so I can only record it for now," Impartial goddess explained. The two of them stayed silent. Yi Fei Li was a bit surprised, then asked, "My girlfriend, how did she get together with him?" "At the time, her whole family was trapped. The young master said he could save her parents, so she agreed to go with him." "Where are her parents?" Gu Qingshan asked. "Dead." Chapter 358. Gu Qingshan looked at Yi Fei Li. Yi Fei Li was surprisingly calm and replied, "In history, when the 9 lords created the Federation, all the great aristocrats were heroes, all of them had accomplished great feats that were praised by the entire world." He asked in confusion, "Why are their descendants like that? Why are the aristocrats of the 9 lords all like that now?" "Because the current aristocrats haven't inherited the spirit of their ancestors, they've only inherited their authority," Gu Qingshan explained. "When a person has the authority to control and harm others without being punished for it, then that person will most likely become a synonym for evil." "Why is that?" "The Lucifer effect. That's human nature." Yi Fei Li thought about it and asked, "Do you think I should avenge her?" "Why would you want to avenge her? You've already broken up," Gu Qingshan coldly spoke. Yi Fei Li hurriedly replied, "That's right, but I can understand her. She also wanted to survive in the apocalypse, or rather, she wanted her family to have a better life at the apocalypse. She abandoned you." Gu Qingshan didn't hold back at all. "So what? She's already dead. Do I still have to argue with her? Not to mention, I'm no longer human, but the happiness she brought me are the most precious memories of my time as a human." Yi Fei Li finally spoke. "Truthfully, I've always been grateful to her." Gu Qingshan seriously listened and smiled. "That's good, revenge doesn't wait overnight. Go now," he said. "I'm going to kill someone. Kill a normal human, aren't you going to stop me?" Yi Fei Li looked at him and asked. Gu Qingshan replied, "Even though you've become a man-killer fiend, you still haven't realized one thing. What is it?" Yi Fei Li asked. As Gu Qingshan was about to say something, His expression changed. Yi Fei Li also looked around with him. On the roads around the graveyard, a lot of people were silently gathering around. Most of them were professionals, but there were also some ordinary people mixed in. The two young men walked at the back while the professionists surrounded them like stars around the moon. I just came to the tomb to take a look, and so many people from the Wang clan have been attracted? Yi Fei Li found it hard to believe. Looks like they're not looking for you, they're all staring at me, Gu Qingshan said. The crowd approached them, silently surrounding Gu Qingshan and Yi Fei Li. Two young men stepped out from the crowd. They sized up Gu Qingshan. Are you Gu Qingshan? I'm Gu Qingshan. Who are you? We are the 9 lords' direct descendants of this generation. What can I do for you? The two young men looked at each other, and the one on the left said, Leave Su share. You can name your conditions. Because she's the Su family's mansion lord now? Gu Qingshan asked with a smile. That's right, the authority she represents right now isn't something someone like you can rely on, the other man said. We can give you 100 million, as long as you leave her. One of the young men couldn't help but say. No conditions, Gu Qingshan continued to smile. He really wanted to laugh. Even Yi Fei Li wanted to laugh. How does it feel? Gu Qingshan asked Yi Fei Li. I feel like we're playing house, Yi Fei Li honestly answered. What if I'm a normal person? If that's the case, Yi Fei Li thought for a bit then said, if I don't agree, I'll probably die, just like my girlfriend. As soon as he said that, the young man in the lead ordered, if you refuse to drink, then you'll have to drink the forfeit. Go kill him. The professionists rushed forward. Gu Qingshan grabbed the earth sword from the void of space and said, What I wanted to tell you just now is related to this. That's right, you said I forgot something, Yi Fei Li nodded. As you continue to grow stronger, you'll find that the world is vast. The scenery in front of you will be completely different from before, Gu Qingshan said. Black sword shadows bloomed silently and dispersed with a loud bang. In a split second, the entire road was filled with the shadows of flying swords circling around. Secret art, a drawn shadow. You need to travel further, to see more wondrous sceneries, not be a weakling whose life and death is in the hands of others, Gu Qingshan continued. Some wanted to rush forward, some wanted to defend, some wanted to run. But as the sword shadows pierced through their bodies, they couldn't think anymore. Countless screams of agony resounded. A deep bloody mist spread out in the night. Gu Qingshan put her sword away and looked at Yi Fei Li. If you want to become strong, you must first have the heart of a strong person, without any other sound to interfere. His voice traveled very far, faintly echoing. Silence, no one else was alive. I am already very strong now, Yi Fei Li said. He opened his palm, where a crimson glow of blood floated. No, you're not strong, Gu Qingshan said. Yi Fei Li said. My power. Gu Qingshan cut him off. When you have power, you'll think you've become stronger, but you haven't, why not? Yi Fei Li was stunned and couldn't help but ask. The so-called strong lies in the heart. When your heart desires something, and your actions follow your desire, that's when you're a strong person. Even a normal person would be able to explode with unimaginable power. You have something you really want to do, but you've always been avoiding it, hesitating, Gu Qingshan said. Yi Fei Li was confused. Gu Qingshan continued. If you don't even dare to do what you want, then your power is useless, you'll always be weak. Yi Fei Li crouched down, cradling her head. What should I do? Gu Qingshan shook her head. The air of peace has suppressed you for too long, so much so that you don't even know who you really are. Who am I? The murder clown. Yi Fei Li was a bit stunned, then lowered her head and mocked herself. Then, the real me is actually a demon? No, you're a hero, you saved this world from the hands of the game of eternal, Gu Qingshan continued. But that's not enough. If you want to become strong, you must still dare to be yourself even after you've taken off your mask. That's right, when I'm acting as the murder clown I do feel a bit happier, Yi Fei Li muttered. I feel like I feel like I've lived to my heart's content. This feeling, only a hero can understand, Gu Qingshan said. Ah ha 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 ha! Yi Fei Li suddenly burst out laughing, shouting to the sky. I understand now, what I really want to do is to avenge her. The blood-red glow illuminated the surroundings, as a terrifying bone spike extended from his back. When I was still human, I couldn't tell you what songs I liked, couldn't tell you what movies I liked the most. Besides playing video games to pass the time, I didn't think life was that interesting. But after I became a man-killer fiend, I understood that the person I loved the most was already with someone else. He breathed heavily, speaking in a low voice. I really don't understand, how could the person I treasured the most become nothing in someone else's eyes? Following that, his body was covered in mysterious black runes, shining in the blood-red glow like a tattoo that couldn't be washed off. Waves of air were being emitted from his body. This was a never-before-seen Yi Fei Li. He wasn't wearing a mask, but at this moment, he was the murder clown. Only by avenging her can my heart be comforted. I want to kill that person. I want to torture him. I want him to repay her pain 100-fold. I want it right now. Chapter 359. Gu Qingshan silently watched as the blood-red light went away. Sir, is that all right? Impartial goddess voice came, a bit worried. A boy has to grow up to be a man, it's fine, Gu Qingshan replied. But Mr. Yi Fei Li's appearance will be exposed. No one knows him, so we'll just tamper with the video footage. Very well, there's one more thing, what is it? Wang family's second young master, Wang Mingzhe, is about to give his councilman election speech. What's going on? Gu Qingshan was surprised. Today is the county-level councilman election, it's being broadcasted live, quite a few VIPs will be here, Impartial Goddess added. The Martial Saint and Sea Emperor are also watching from the shadows. What the hell, Gu Qingshan facebombed. This is a terrible time. But if Yi Fei Li retreats at this time, he definitely won't back down. He'll definitely do everything in his power to take revenge. I don't want to stop him either. With just Yi Fei Li alone, he'll have to deal with two of the Federation's most powerful professionists, as well as countless mechs and interstellar warships. He'll most likely get hurt. Many innocent people will also be dragged in. This will be an unprecedented war. What now? Other than stopping Yi Fei Li, the only other way is to go there myself to help. But my real identity is a scientist of the Federation. Different from Yi Fei Li, if I show up at such a place with my real face, the Martial Saint will recognize me first. Once my identity is exposed, there'll be a lot of trouble later on. Sir, there's 3 minutes left until Yi Fei Li arrives at the live broadcast of the councilman election, Impartial Goddess reminded him. Do we have any more genetic disguise serums? I used them all during the trip to the Holy Empire. I don't have time to make new ones, Gu Qingshan sighed, then said, My body shape and Yi Fei Li's aren't that different, you're taller than him by 2 centimeters. If that's the case, there shouldn't be much difference, Gu Qingshan muttered in thought. Sir, there are 2 minutes left. The murder clown armor should be nearby, right? Yes, I just used it and put it on the low Earth orbit satellite. Send it down. Understood. Pitch black armor and black wings. Wearing the murder clown armor, Gu Qingshan moved her body a bit uncomfortably. Sir, you're quite handsome. Impartial Goddess voice carried a hint of laughter. Don't laugh at me, Gu Qingshan said helplessly. I was the one who instigated that kid. If anything happens to him, it'll be bad. He put on the clown helmet. Gu Qingshan's voice came from behind the cold and strange smile. This is a pit that I dug myself. I have to fill it up. You left out the words with tears. Gu Qingshan shrugged and said, Let's go. A black light flashed and produced a powerful sonic boom. The mobile mech dragged out 2 long black wings in the sky. Gu Qingshan entered supersonic flight. Estimated time of arrival, 53 seconds, You will arrive 27 seconds later than Mr. Yi Fei Li understood. Keep an eye on the situation at the scene. Got it. The election venue. This was a large lawn outside the Parliament building. Normally, this place is used for large press conferences, welcoming foreign guests, as well as government charity events. Every few years, the election speeches are also held here. At this time, a young candidate with a dignified appearance was standing on the podium. He was giving a speech to all the VIPs here, as well as the entire nation's TV audience. I am Wang Mingzhe. After going through 19 cities and counties, 7 months, 23 debates, defeating 2 competitors, I've used a total of 4 bottles of throat protector, worn out 2 pairs of leather shoes. Finally, I'm standing here. His opening speech was met with friendly laughter and applause from everyone. Wang Mingzhe also laughed, put his hands on both sides of the podium, and continued. Indeed, there have been many disasters that have befallen our world, but I must say, the most precious thing for us humans is to uphold equality, respect, and value the rights of women. A blood-red glow descended from above. A man with a pair of terrifying bony wings landed and crouched down on the podium. Women's rights? That's quite a good campaign slogan, the strange man muttered. He reached his hand forward. His fingers turned into sharp spikes that pierced through Wang Mingzhe's shoulder blades. Wang Mingzhe screamed in pain. Yi Fei Li stared at the young candidate in front of her, seemingly observing his painful expression. While flying, his clothes were torn apart by the wings, then blown away by the intense wind. So he was currently naked from the waist up. Black tattoos appeared all over his body, illuminated by the red glow, making him look extremely eerie. The crowd became rowdy. Assassination! Where are the guards? It's a professionist, hurry! Guards! Someone screamed. The VIPs were surrounded by the crowd as they retreated. The ordinary staff fled in all directions. A group of black-clothed people appeared and flew towards the podium. A few of the reporters ran away, but a lot of them were holding their cameras, as if they were on steroids, circling the podium to find a good vantage point. Catch him! Someone shouted. The black-clothed people all attacked Yi Fei Li. Bang! The undisguised sound of a sniper rifle being fired was heard. The bullet hit Yi Fei Li's head and bounced off. Yi Fei Li didn't move. The red glow around his body surged, turning into a curtain of blood that swirled around the podium. The blood-red screen of light isolated the podium from the rest of the crowd. The guards that tried to attack were all knocked away. They fell to the ground, moaning in pain. Something seemed to have entered their bodies as soon as it touched them, causing them unprecedented internal damage. Several powerful professionists rushed forward. But before they could do anything, the blood-red screen of light turned into a giant hand and lightly pressed them to the ground, making them unable to move at all. It's a man-killer fiend. A powerful man-killer fiend. Someone saw Yi Fei Li's blood-red eyes and shouted in fear. No, he's too strong. Request for the interstellar warship, a person who looked like a commander ordered. General Song has agreed. The interstellar warship is on its way. Such power, I've never heard of it before, perhaps only the general. Sensing the intense blood-red glow around Yi Fei Li's body, the commander muttered. He quickly asked, "Where are the 2 generals?" "They don't know, they were still here just now," the subordinate answered. In the sky, the giant interstellar warship could be seen. The interstellar warship was flying across the large river a few miles away from the Parliament building, slowly approaching. It had humanity's most advanced weaponry, capable of capturing even the slightest movement of an enemy, using it to attack from afar. Its power was comparable to that of a 5th-stage combatant. On the podium, Wang Mingzhe endured the pain and calmly asked, "Who are you?" "I have no grudge against you. Nice to meet you. I'm Lu Shijun's ex-boyfriend," Yi Fei Li replied. Wang Mingzhe was stunned. His eyes widened as a layer of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. Yi Fei Li spoke. "Seems like you know why I'm here. How much money do you want?" Wang Mingze lowered his voice and asked. He looked at her and tried his best to smile. Let bygones be bygones, I'll do my best to make it up to you. Yi Fei Li also smiled. He burst out laughing so hard that tears were coming out of his eyes. After a while, he wiped the corner of his eyes and spoke. Chapter 360. Wang Mingze sensed something ominous when he saw the other party's crazed look. I'm an aristocrat of the Nine Lords, the second young master of the Wang family. Wang Mingze's face displayed the sincerity of a politician and spoke. Trust me, I can give you anything you want as long as you let me go. As he spoke, he glanced around but did not see any new security personnel. Damn it, how could this be? Many people had enmity with him, but they couldn't even get close to him. But why does the man-killer fiends have a grudge against me? This man-killer fiend is really special, it actually still has rationality. But he was dead for sure. Today, the two strongest generals of the Federation were also present. But where were they? To hell with the bureaucracy. Come and save me. Wang Mingze cursed anxiously in his heart. In the sky, the giant Starry Sky battleship continued to fly forward slowly. Above the Starry Sky battleship, even higher up in the sky, See Emperor Li Dongyuan and Marshal Saint Zhang Zongyang stood side by side, as if they were facing a great enemy. The murder clown stood in front of them, a sword resting on its shoulder. Acting all mysterious, Zhang Zongyang said disdainfully. The murder clown? I've heard a lot about you. May I know why you've come to the Federation? Li Dongyuan asked. However, the two of them did not relax at all. Both of them had seen the scene back then. The strength displayed by the clown was too shocking. And that strange ability to control the entire world's optical supercomputer. They noticed the commotion in front of the Parliament building below, but it was only a man-killer fiend. A powerful man-killer fiend. On their side, there were two generals, countless mobile armors, and giant space battleship. No matter what, they would definitely be able to annihilate them in the end. But the murder clown was an unknown existence. Once it appeared, no one knew what would happen next. Meeting the clown in person felt different. The two generals were both fifth-stage rankers, and could sense the clown's power. There was an invisible fluctuation on the clown's body. It was as deep as the sea, like a giant beast lurking in the abyss. It could transform into a destructive force at any time. When he sensed it carefully, he found that this energy was in harmony with the world. Standing in front of the clown was like standing against everything in the world. The two generals did not dare to leave rashly, nor did they dare to lower their guard. There's no need for the two of you to fight and kill each other, I'm just passing by so I came to take a look. The murder clown casually replied. The martial saint and the sovereign of the ocean looked at each other and saw the seriousness in each other's eyes. Put down the weapon in your hand, Neptune shouted. Are you serious? The clown asked. Of course. Put down your weapon first. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite, the martial sage said. Fine, the clown let go. He casually tossed the sword out. The long sword tumbled and fell into the distance. As it fell faster and faster. The two generals relaxed a little. Suddenly there was a loud noise. Then, flames and smoke rose into the sky. The expressions of the two generals changed as they hurriedly looked down. However, the long sword fell on the giant Starry Sky battleship and smashed right into the power pool of the Starry Sky battleship. The next moment, the entire battleship was dragged into the canal. A long sword weighing 86,370,000 kilograms rapidly fell from the sky. Even the most advanced high-tech weapons of war could only be left with the fate of crashing. Sorry, looks like I shouldn't have listened to you. The clown waved his hand, and the sword once again flew into the sky and landed in the clown's hand. You monster! The martial sage looked at him with a serious expression like never before. A single sword was able to drag the entire giant Starry Sky battleship into the canal. This was beyond human comprehension. He casually waved his hand and the weapon flew back to him. Unimaginable! You have to be honest when you speak. You're the one who made me throw this away, the clown said innocently. No, you're not the murder clown, the Sea Emperor suddenly said. How so? The clown asked. Speech, expression, presence, movements, you don't resemble it at all, the Sea Emperor said. I also feel the same when you say that, the martial sage said. You're quite observant. I'm definitely not the murder clown, the clown said. Who exactly are you? I'm his big brother, Gu Qing-shan spoke with a low and solemn voice. There are a total of 5 of us, 4 men and 1 woman. When we appear one after another, it means that the world is falling into the abyss. One day, when all 5 of us appear at the same time, you will see something you've never seen before. What will we see? The Sea Emperor couldn't help but ask. You will see 5 clowns. Gu Qing-shan spoke with a very serious tone. The Sea Emperor. The martial sage. Gu Qing-shan was messing around in the air, stalling for time, while the real clown was taking his revenge in the sky. The podium. Yi Fei spoke very seriously. If you don't like her, you can tell me, it's fine, I'll take her away, but why did you hit her? Why did you bully her? Why did you push her down the stairs? Who gave you the right to treat a helpless girl like that? With every sentence he asked, he would cut off a part of his body. I apologize, Wang Mingze screamed as he spoke. He was already covered in blood, not a single part of his body was left intact. Perhaps because he couldn't endure this inhumane torture, or because he knew that he wouldn't be able to escape, Wang Mingze screamed in hatred. I don't care who you are, you're dead. I'm the 2nd young master of the Wang family. Our family will mobilize the entire Federation to kill you, and then your entire family. Yi Fei ignored it and continued to cut off the enemy's body parts. While cutting, he whispered. She had always appeared to be very strong, very brave. Even the first time we took a photo together, she was the one who suggested it, but at that moment I saw the fear and nervousness in her eyes. That's right, she was actually a coward, she was afraid of too many things. She told me that was the most brave day of her life. If that's the case, if someone were to die in front of her, she would probably be afraid as well. That's why I won't take you to her grave. You shall die here. Yi Fei stabbed her hand into his chest, grabbed the throbbing thing, and pulled it out. No. Wang Mingze screamed, his eyes filled with disbelief. Today was supposed to be the most glorious day of my life. After today, everything has been arranged. I'll step into the pinnacle of my life, becoming an official member of the Federation. I still have a bright future ahead of me. But now I'm going to die. Wang Mingze coughed up some blood, muttering, She's just a woman, why? He collapsed, no longer breathing. Yi Fei knelt on one knee on the podium. He was holding his beating heart in one hand, rubbing his eyes with the other. His fearsome bony wings retracted, silently curling up on his back. He was sobbing. In a trance, he seemed to have returned to the past. The girl handed him a bottle of drink and looked at him with a nervous smile. She looked at him with hope and asked for a photo of the 2 of them. Chapter 361. The hollow brain in Yi Fei's chest pocket lit up. Impartial goddess voice came. Now that your revenge is complete, Mr. Yi Fei, please leave. Yi Fei calmed himself down and looked up at the sky. With his eyesight, he could naturally see the 3 people in the sky. All 3 of them were exuding a strong aura, facing off against each other. 2 against 1? I'll go help him, Yi Fei immediately said. No, Mr. Yi Fei, there's an old acquaintance of Sir Gu Qing-shan in there. He doesn't want to fight at all, he'll leave right after you leave, so it was just to attract firepower so that I can take my revenge? Yi Fei understood. He stood up from the podium and looked around. The security personnel that he injured were still moaning in pain on the ground. The more powerful professionists were pinned to the ground by the blood glow, unable to resist at all. Even further away, there was a large crowd of reporters. Yi Fei Li clapped his hands. Bam! All the camera equipment exploded at the sound of it, breaking into pieces on the ground. Following that, panicked screams could be heard one after another. Yi Fei Li raised his bloodied hand in front of his chest. A needle-like blood glow flew out from the bodies of the security personnel and fell into his hand. The blood-red light gathered and formed a leaping blood-red flame. As he closed his hand, the flame disappeared. Yi Fei Li didn't kill them. He spread his wings, kicked his knees a bit and flew up to the sky. The blood glow streaked across the sky, then disappeared without a trace. In the sky. Gu Qingshan obviously noticed this. Releasing her inner sight to scan below, she found that out of the several thousand people here, only one person died. That was the target of Yi Fei Li's revenge. Behind the clown mask, Gu Qingshan smiled. Yi Fei Li can now control his killing intent very well. Didn't he want to be a normal person? Unknowingly, the time has come. Gu Qingshan looked at the two generals in front of her. The warrior sage was an old acquaintance. Although the Neptune had never interacted with him before, he was still a member of the Federation. What are you fighting for? Let's go. The black light wings on the back of the battle armor suddenly spread open. Gu Qingshan was ready to leave. No, it's not good to just leave like this. The two generals would chase after him with all their might. Gu Qingshan cleared her throat, cupped her fists and said, "Today is a day for us to relax. Two powerful humans, if you are willing, let's go and do some Taoism together next time. As for now, I have something to attend to. Goodbye." "You destroyed our Starry Sky battleship and just left like that?" Marshal Sage Zhang Zongyang stared at him and said. The clown said seriously, "You were the ones who requested for the falling objects, so you have to take responsibility as well." "Bullshit." The Ocean Emperor snorted coldly and waved his hand to release a blue light shadow. When he attacked, he gave it his all. The blue figure appeared. It was a tiger shark that was completely made of water spirit. The Ocean Emperor's ace in the hole, shark god. If you're bitten by this tiger shark, you'll instantly be transported to the bottom of the ocean. If a normal professionist gets hit by this attack, they'll be crushed to dust by the immense pressure of the water without any chance to resist. Even if it was a powerful professional who could survive in the deep sea, the Ocean Emperor would launch an even more powerful attack at them. The ocean is his home turf. Even a giant sea beast can't go against the Ocean Emperor. The blue tiger shark turned into a blurred image and tried to bite the clown. But the clown just stood there with his sword in hand, showing no signs of resisting. As the tiger shark was about to bite him, the Ocean Emperor couldn't help but clench his fist. As if his vision blurred, the tiger shark went through the clown and flew far away. The clown didn't seem to move at all, but in reality, he just moved a bit closer. As if the clown suddenly switched places with the tiger shark. "How is that possible?" See Emperor Li Dong Yuan blankly exclaimed. "A space-type god's chosen skill, and the strongest kind at that," Marshal Saint Zhang Zongyang muttered. His mood was extremely heavy. If the clown can switch places with anything, then it's almost impossible to hit the clown with elemental spells. Then close combat is the only way. As soon as he moved, the Ocean Emperor had already rushed forward. Ha! The Ocean Emperor held a circle of blue light in each hand, charging straight at the clown. "Watch out!" The martial saint was afraid that something would happen to him, so he quickly followed. Facing two of the strongest professionists, the clown casually swung his sword. This swing completely sealed off the two generals' attack paths. Noticing the danger, the martial saint stopped in midair. But the Ocean Emperor didn't stop. Gu Qingshan only hesitated for a split second. The Earth Sword flipped over. The Ocean Emperor was lightly knocked away by the Earth Sword. He turned into a shooting star, flying towards the Yellow Sea. According to Impartial Goddess' latest information, a new sea beast has appeared there. The Ocean Emperor will soon reach the sea beast. He will begin his work. But Gu Qingshan was a bit confused. The Ocean Emperor's strength isn't weak, but he didn't notice my attack. This doesn't seem like the demeanor of a combatant. The Ocean Emperor is a combatant who's spent most of his life fighting. How could he make such a rudimentary mistake? He silently thought. On the other side, Zhang Zongyuan had an unprecedentedly serious expression on his face. Such swordsmanship! He had thought of 7 to 8 different movement techniques, but none of them could get past that sword. This was an untraceable strike. But from the clown's appearance, he easily swung this strike. Being hit, the Ocean Emperor was only caught by the unstoppable force and sent flying away. He can't be hurt. I've never seen or heard of such swordsmanship in all my years of living. Thinking about it carefully, the clown's strength has surpassed the martial saint's understanding. A single strike was enough to send the entire interstellar warship into the canal. No spells could hit it. Unparalleled swordsmanship. What else does the clown know? Where exactly did you come from? Zhang Zongyuan couldn't help but ask. If the clown had killing intent, the Ocean Emperor would have died just now. So the martial saint wasn't prepared to risk his life. Good question, Gu Qingshan praised. After thinking for a bit, he tapped his inventory bag and took out a small booklet. This was a martial arts cultivation method, a coherent cultivation method that he had organized himself. If a martial cultivator follows this scripture, they can cultivate from Qi training realm all the way to rejuvenation realm without any problems. This scripture isn't part of Bai Hua Sect's inheritance, but rather a widely known scripture, so he can pass it on without worry. He originally wanted Zhang Yongho to give it to the martial saint, but after he returned, Zhang Yongho was busy with business, so he didn't even get to see him. And now I can give it to him myself. In the past life, I left the Federation a long time ago. At the time, I was so immersed in the game that I didn't know a lot of things. But he did hear about the martial saint's death. It was said that it was because of the internal politics of the Federation. The martial saint was sent to the front lines to fight against the demons. But he didn't receive any reinforcements. The martial saint fought against several terrifyingly powerful great demons, only to die in the end. The martial saint spent his entire life working hard for the Federation, only to meet such a tragic end. This was a matter that caused countless professionists to sigh. But in this life, with this martial scripture, Zhang Zongyuan's fate will definitely be different. Gu Qingshan threw the booklet to him. Zhang Zongyuan caught it. But he didn't flip through it and only asked, "What is this?" "It's a martial scripture from my world. You'll know once you see it," Gu Qingshan answered. "Why are you giving it to me?" Zhang Zongyuan asked. Gu Qingshan looked at Zhang Zongyuan, thinking about how he's a straightforward and warm-hearted person, a man who hates evil and never puts on airs. Even during the Federation's general election, there were a lot of people who wanted to support the martial saint as the new president. Aside from the 9 lords, everyone else gave him a thumbs up. Perhaps this was his way of courting disaster. Gu Qingshan shook her head and said, "Peace was always decided by the general should also see peace." You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.